Chapter 2186. Outside Heavenly Cloud Mountain in the Ink Sea, a group of azure smoke pavilion disciples looked at the ruined blessed land. There was another figure who was also observing silently. However, even if Xiaochen were here, he would find it hard to detect this figure. What more these people? The mysterious person looked around and fixed his gaze on Qingyan Shangren's severed arm. Xiaochen had left some saber intent there. It would be very difficult to disperse the saber intent that contained Xiao Chen's divine seal, Dao Domain, especially when Xiao Chen had left it behind. Qingyan Shangren would have to find someone much stronger than Xiao Chen to disperse this saber intent. Otherwise, even a sovereign emperor would not be able to recover his arm. You did it beautifully. The mysterious person slowly withdrew his gaze, no longer paying attention. To the Heavenly Alliance, killing Qingyan Shangren or not did not matter. The most important thing was to maintain the Nine Cauldron Pavilion's maximum benefits. If Qingyan Shangren was killed, the Ink Sea would definitely fall into chaos. It might even trigger a chaotic battle between the various factions, resulting in a drastic change in the situation. The Nine Cauldron Pavilion was only a merchant association. It did not want to see such a scene. It still needed a stable Ink Sea without a strong ruler. After chopping off Qingyan Shangren's arm, Qingyan Shangren's strength decreased significantly. While he still deterred the other factions, it would be extremely difficult for him to regain his previous dominance. After learning this lesson, the Nine Cauldron Pavilion would fear him and not dare to do anything to the Nine Cauldron Pavilion. As for Qingyan Shangren, it did not matter. A sovereign emperor who advanced in the Ink Sea was not sufficient. Actually, Xiao Chen's evaluation of Qingyan Shangren was already very fair. The true experts of the Central Great Realm all felt arrogant toward the outer regions in their hearts. It looks like he really obtained the fiendish saber inheritance. I have to remember this. As for the rest, there should be nothing else. The mysterious person muttered to himself before quickly leaving, vanishing from this place. Just like how no one knew when he arrived, he left without leaving any traces, as if he had never existed. As for Xiao Chen, he had already completed his mission when he chopped off Qingyan Shangren's arm. He could go to Red Cloud Island to report or ignore everything and directly return to the Heavenly Alliance's headquarters. However, Xiao Chen was thinking about another problem. Could he take this opportunity to go to the Blue Dragon's homeland? But on second thought, he chose to give up. When he was in the sky beyond heaven, he felt like someone was watching him. After coming out, he still felt uncomfortable. It was best to be as cautious as possible. In the future, it wouldn't be too late to go when he could accept missions alone. Anyway, if there were people in the dark, he wouldn't have to worry about his life. After heading to the Starry Sky Dao platform, Xiao Chen returned directly to the Heavenly Alliance's headquarters. As soon as he set foot on sky beyond heaven, the deacon who gave him the mission was already waiting for him. Xiao Chen cupped his hands and said, "Deacon Mu." Deacon Mu nodded slightly. The headquarters gave you a 5-star evaluation. You got full marks for both the time you took to complete the mission and the results. Congratulations on completing the mission. You've been awarded 1,000 merit points. As he spoke, he took out his Heavenly Alliance medallion and stuck it to Xiao Chen's medallion. Then, Xiao Chen noticed that the number 1,000 had appeared on the back of his token under the 2 plum blossom petals. The number was well embedded in the vast white snow. If one did not look carefully, it would be hard to notice. You can exchange the merit points for resources. However, after you exchange them, the corresponding merit points will vanish. Deacon Mu gave Xiao Chen a simple explanation before turning to leave, not lingering. However, before he left, he gave Xiao Chen a few more glances, like he wanted to remember him. As Xiao Chen toyed with the Heavenly Alliance medallion, he thought to himself, to think that there is no reward for completing the mission. Is the merit the reward? However, if I exchange merit points, I will have to wait to raise the rank of my plum blossom petals. While it looks like I am obtaining merit points for completing the mission, if I exchange them for resources frequently, the day I raise my plum blossom petals will be far away. The Heavenly Alliance must have done this on purpose. After returning to his residence, Xiao Chen greeted Bao. Then he entered the medicinal spring room, removed his clothes, and soaked himself in. The medicinal spring had a healing effect. When he fought with Qinyin Shangren, he had suffered some injuries from sword qi. This soaking could relieve his fatigue, heal his injuries, and eliminate hidden injuries. It was indeed pretty good. Xiaochen closed his eyes and fell asleep. When he woke up, Bao was already waiting for him. She helped Xiao Chun put on his clothes. Big brother Xiao, you completed this mission really quickly. You completed it in less than 3 days. After helping Xiao Chun put on his clothes, Bao smiled softly and said, "Many of the deacons are praising you. If they were all as efficient as you, there would not be a lack of manpower." Xiaochen did not deny it. After chatting with Bao for a while, he entered the cultivation room and entered closed-door cultivation. Cultivating at the foot of the Heavenly Alliance's divine mountain was much faster than cultivating outside. He could clearly feel the divine energy in his body rejoicing. Xiaochen wondered how this divine mountain was forged for it to have such miraculous effects. As the 10,000 dragons art circulated, many different dragon images appeared in his divine energy sea. After 100 dragon images appeared, they stopped. Xiao Chun was still far from forming the 10,000 dragons picture and reaching the first step of the 10,000 dragons art. However, Xiao Chun still had a long time ahead of him. With this divine mountain to rely on, he could save a lot of time. Xiao Chen's days of quiet cultivation did not last long. After 3 days, he received missions. Xiao Chun, who is only a 2-petal plum blossom cultivator, did not have any free time. Now he finally understood what Bao meant by resting more. Otherwise, he would not have any time to rest. Xiao Chun did not say anything unnecessary. He just took the missions and left, completing them at the fastest speed possible. His efficiency was flabbergasting. In a short year, Xiao Chun became famous in the Heavenly Alliance. Everyone knew about this white-clad bladesman. This was because Xiao Chun needed only 1 year to become a 3-petal flower. Xiao Chun did not use any of the contribution points for completing the missions. He saved them all up. When he met the requirements, he immediately chose to raise his cultivation. To Xiao Chun, the Heavenly Alliance's divine mountain was sufficient for his needs. Little brother Xiao Chun, are you sure that you are in such a rush to raise your cultivation? Administrator Mu, who was already very familiar with Xiao Chun, said out of goodwill, "You can exchange these contribution points for many resources. If you choose to raise your cultivation, you will lose all of them." Xiao Chun replied calmly, "I know. However, I have my own arrangements. The higher one's cultivation, the more contribution points one can obtain for completing missions. The highest reward for a 2-petal flower is only 1,000 contribution points. The lowest reward for a 3-petal flower is 10,000 contribution points. This will depend on how it is calculated." There was one more thing that Xiao Chun did not say. If a 3-petal flower could choose its own missions, it would not be as passive as before. Administrator Mu smiled and said, "Since you have made your choice, I will not say anything more." Xiao Chun returned the Heavenly Alliance medallion to Xiao Chun. Then, another of the 8 plum blossoms lit up on the snowy scene on the back, making a total of 3. The numbers under the plum blossoms all turned to 0. Xiao Chun would stand on a new starting point. "This is for you." Xiao Chun found this somewhat strange. Then, he received a jade bottle from Administrator Mu. When he opened it, he saw that it contained 5 tons of origin liquid. This was a large sum. Even after selling the 10,000-year-old herb kings, Xiao Chun had only obtained 50 tons of origin liquid. "This is," Xiao Chun asked, feeling confused. Administrator Mu explained, "This is the Heavenly Alliance's reward for you. All the lords saw your contributions for themselves in the past year. Originally, with the contribution points you obtained, it would have been a large reward. You could have even exchanged for an inferior grade soul tool. However, you did not exchange for it, which was equivalent to doing nothing. The lords felt that they could not let you down. They did not know what you needed, so they gave you 5 tons of origin liquid." When Xiao Chun thought about it, he felt that this was true. He had worked hard in the past year. Normally, he did not feel much. This was because he felt that being in the Heavenly Alliance was the greatest reward. He had a divine mountain to cultivate on, a demon blood vulture to nurture, and combat experience to temper himself as a sovereign emperor. Honestly speaking, although these days were dull and tiring, they suited Xiao Chun. Although Xiao Chun had not opened a divine vein in the past year, his 10,000 dragons art progressed rapidly. He was only one step away from condensing the 10,000 dragons picture. Many thanks. Xiao Chun thanked Administrator Mu softly as he put away the jade bottle. Origin liquid was good stuff. He would not reject something that came to him for free. Administrator Mu smiled faintly and called out to Xiao Chun, who was about to turn around. Don't be in a rush to leave. The Alliance Chief wants to see you. The Heavenly Alliance's Alliance Chief was one of the leaders of the 5 super factions of the Righteous Tao. He was one of the people who stood at the peak of the martial epic. Although Xiao Chun was in the Heavenly Alliance, it was impossible for him to request an audience with the Heavenly Alliance Chief. There was too much of a difference in their levels. Why are you looking for me? Xiao Chun asked in a deep voice. His expression remained calm, not showing much fluctuation. Administrator Mu waved his hand and said, How could I know about such things? However, he is not meeting me alone this time. Grim Reaper Lin Feng is going as well. Chapter 2187. There was a divine mountain in heaven beyond heaven. At the summit of the divine mountain was a residence. Aside from the Heavenly Alliance's Alliance Chief, no one else was qualified to reside at the summit of this divine mountain. Under Administrator Mu's lead, Xiao Chun headed for the divine mountain summit. As Xiao Chun advanced, he felt the mysteriousness of the divine mountain. The foot of the mountain could not compare to the middle of the mountain. The density of the divine nature was like night and day. No wonder people wanted to climb higher. They needed to live high, be strong, and possess a high status. They needed to be aloof, looking down from above, enjoying others looking up to them. There was no need to describe the mysteriousness of the Alliance Chief's residence. With just one glance, Xiao Chun felt somewhat helpless. Every brick and tile was made of alloy and decorated with spirit herbs and celestial flowers. There was a sense of elegance in the atmosphere. This was the so-called paradise. Little brother Xiao Chun, please enter. I'm not qualified to enter, Administrator Mu said with some envy. One could see the entire Heavenly Alliance great realm from the summit of this divine mountain. It was not easy to enter the residence and meet the Alliance Chief. Xiao Chun nodded and entered the residence with his head held high. There was no one in the hall to guide him, but there was only one path. He just had to keep walking forward. Pawns lined both sides of the path. There were elegant and ancient murals on the walls. Xiao Chun did not know which epoch they were in. As he walked, he pushed open a door. Then, Xiao Chun figured that he should be in the main hall. A person stood in the hall. It was Grim Reaper Lin Feng, who had arrived earlier. When he saw Xiao Chun, he nodded slightly in greeting. Xiao Chun nodded back in greeting. He felt admiration for this Grim Reaper Lin Feng. Xiao Chun heard that Lin Feng was once a sovereign emperor in the abyssal underworld. However, he betrayed the abyssal underworld and destroyed his demonic Tao cultivation technique. Lin Feng's cultivation returned to its starting point and started over. Then, he rose up again, comprehending the Death Great Tao and the Death Tao domain. He surpassed his previous peak and was extremely incredible. Rumor had it that Lin Feng's master betrayed him, offering his lover with an extreme body to the underworld God Hall's Vice Hall master. This person exuded an extremely heavy death chi. He did not befriend others and kept a low profile. He did not have much of a presence in the Heavenly Alliance. However, his strength made it so that no one could ignore his existence. All of the information about him were just rumors. Xiao Chun heard that he had directly become a disciple of Swearin Ji, the same Swearin Ji who had wanted to recruit Xiao Chun. How long have you been here? Xiao Chun walked over and asked softly. Lin Feng answered simply, an hour before you. Xiao. Just when Xiao Chun felt that Lin Feng wasn't that cold, a light flashed at the end of the hall. 9 figures appeared at the end of the path. They looked very close, but these 9 people seemed to be in another world. They were so close, yet so far away, their figures faintly discernible. 2 of them sat cross-legged, while the other 7 stood behind them. They had different expressions on their faces, as if they were shadows. Xiao Chen saw Mu Zifeng among the 7. These 7 should be the Heavenly Alliance's 7 core doyens. Needless to say, the 2 people who sat down were the Heavenly Alliance's Alliance Chief and Vice Alliance Chief. Greetings to the 2 Alliance Chiefs and the 7 Lords. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng bowed slightly, performing cup-fist salutes to show respect. These 9 people could be considered the Heavenly Alliance's core upper echelon. They held high positions, and their cultivations were among the strongest. Good. I have long heard that my Heavenly Alliance produced 2 outstanding talents of the new generation. Today, I finally get to see them, the seated black-clad old man said. This person should be the Heavenly Alliance's Alliance Chief, Hua Tianyang, one of the top experts of the current martial epic. Mu Zifeng, Serene Ji, are these 2 your disciples? Mu Zifeng replied softly, Xiao Chun is not my disciple. He is Peach Blossom's disciple. I could be considered his guide in the Heavenly Alliance. Peach Blossom, so he is Peach Blossom's disciple. He still remembers how well the Heavenly Alliance treated him. Hua Tianyang said softly, help me prepare a gift tomorrow and send it to desolate Sea Peach Blossom City. Yes. After Mu Zifeng answered, Serene Ji smiled and said, Xiao Chun is not Mu Zifeng's disciple. However, Lin Feng is indeed my disciple. I noticed him the moment he entered the Heavenly Alliance. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng had no right to interfere when the powerhouses spoke. They could only let these people comment on them. Xiao Chun only glanced at Serene Ji and saw his appearance clearly. Serene Ji had a cold and gloomy face. His eyes flickered with a wild light, giving the impression of a venomous snake lurking in the shadows. Xiao Chun, Lin Feng, the 2 of you have been in my Heavenly Alliance for more than a year. Perhaps the 2 of you cannot feel it, but the Heavenly Alliance's secret guards protected you every time you went on a mission. The Dark Guard saw everything. This is sufficient to prove your loyalty to my Heavenly Alliance. Hua Tianyang got straight to the point, not bothering with pleasantries. This confirmed the feeling that someone was monitoring Xiao Chun. In reality, the Heavenly Alliance's newcomers did not receive such treatment in the past. My Heavenly Alliance does not care about loyalty. We are very clear on how many spies there are in the vast Heavenly Alliance. However, it does not matter. As long as they can be used by my Heavenly Alliance, they can do whatever they want. Such boldness was indeed shocking. However, given the Heavenly Alliance's uniqueness, this was indeed the case. It is fine as long as you are used by me. As for other thoughts, I will just not let you come into contact with the core. Hua Tianyang continued. This time, I called the 2 of you here for a mission. I need the 2 of you to work together to complete it. This mission is tailor-made for the 2 of you. I can't find anyone more suitable than you. Xiao Chun thought to himself, tailor-made for the 2 of us? That means that Lin Feng and I have something in common, which makes us suitable for the Alliance Chief's mission. What do we have in common? After thinking about it, the only thing the 2 of them had in common was the dragon race bloodline. However, Xiao Chun was a flood dragon human, and his dragon race bloodline had mutated. As for his dragon race bloodline, to others, it should be a mutated mixed blood dragon bloodline. Mu Zifeng, come and speak to them, Hua Tianyang said softly. Mu Zifeng nodded and said, Xiao Chun, Lin Feng, the Alliance Chief wishes to send the 2 of you to the abyssal underworld to retrieve a holy item that the Heavenly Alliance once lost in the abyssal underworld, the snow god Whip's dart head. 4,000 years ago, 5 superpowers joined hands to attack the Netherworld world, intending to eradicate the underworld god Hall in one fell swoop. During the Great Battle, the Heavenly Alliance's snow god Whip was destroyed and the dart head was lost. The Heavenly Alliance has always wanted to find it. Unfortunately, it is too difficult for the people of the righteous Tao to enter the abyssal underworld. If you're too strong, you'll be discovered before you even enter the netherworld. If you're too weak, you won't be able to complete the mission. As long as the 2 of you complete this mission, you will be promoted to become a 4-petal member. The alliance leader will also personally agree to one of your requests. Hua Tianyang sighed and said, I am ashamed to say this. This sacred item was lost in my hands, but I am unable to retrieve it myself. Swearenji hurriedly said, Alliance Master, don't feel guilty. If not for this battle back then, showing the glory of our heavenly alliance to the world, showing our heavenly alliance's strength, our heavenly alliance would not have become a superpower. Furthermore, you entered the abyssal underworld 9 times and fought with the underworld monarchs several times, putting yourself in danger. You have already done enough. The other core doyens quickly consoled Hua Tianyang, not wanting him to feel too guilty. I know about that great battle. It is known as the final blood battle in the abyssal underworld. The 9 layers of the abyssal underworld suffered heavy casualties. If not for the Shu dynasty's help, the underworld god hall might have been destroyed. If I guessed right, this dart head should be in the final blood battlefield remnant. That place is considered a forbidden land in the abyssal underworld. Lin Feng replied softly. He was rather clear about this battle. Before Lin Feng betrayed the underworld god hall, the underworld god hall had been proclaiming how despicable the people of the central great realm were. Lin Feng once thought of killing his way back to the great Thousand Realms one day, establishing supreme beneficence for the underworld god hall, helping the flood dragon humans reclaim the divine dragon empire. However, that was all in the past. It was no longer important. That's right. If there are no surprises, this dart head should still be in the final blood battlefield. The two of you possess the dragon race bloodline. Lin Feng does not even need to disguise himself to return to the abyssal underworld without being discovered. As for Xiao Chun, the demonic Dao cultivation technique that you cultivate can hide your identity very well. Hua Tianyang changed the topic as he looked at Xiao Chun and smiled gently. When Xiao Chun heard that, his heart trembled. He revealed a horrified expression, feeling somewhat at a loss. Originally, Xiao Chun thought that the other party would say that he had a mixed-blood dragon bloodline. That way, he would not be discovered. Who could have imagined that Hua Tianyang would expose his secret of cultivating a demonic Dao cultivation technique, leaving him at a loss? Hua Tianyang smiled and said, There is no need to be nervous. Since ancient times, there have been people of the righteous Dao who cultivate demonic Dao cultivation techniques. All the talented people would study demonic Dao cultivation techniques, just like how there are people of the demonic Dao who cultivate righteous Dao cultivation techniques. My Heavenly Alliance's senior elder Swearin Ji cultivates a demonic Dao cultivation technique. However, it is still the same. As a core doyen of my Heavenly Alliance, no one in the righteous Dao dares to say anything. Don't think of the people of the righteous Dao as too pedantic. Some things are only said on the surface. In the end, it is still a conflict of interest. If you are strong enough, who will dare to control you? Of course, if you're not strong enough and do not have a backer, the result will be different. As Hua Tianyang spoke, Swearin Ji smiled sinisterly at Xiao Chun. His smile seemed profound and mysterious. Xiao Chun cursed in his heart. I hid it well enough. Even a faux god would not easily discover it. It must be Swearin Ji who exposed me. While Hua Tianyang's words sounded like consolation, they were actually threats. You have my Heavenly Alliance's protection. Just like Swearin Ji, no one will dare to say anything. If you leave the Heavenly Alliance and someone kills you as a demon, you will not be able to redress your grievances. However, this is not entirely a bad thing. If you are completely flawless with all your strengths, Hua Tianyang might not dare to trust you. However, once he discovers your secret, he will have something to use against you. On the contrary, he will trust you even more. Xiao Chun calmed down and said, Alliance Chief is right. Xiao Chun has experienced it for himself. Hua Tianyang nodded slightly and said, Let's do it this way then. The two of you go and make preparations first. We can depart at any time. The moment Xiao Chun turned around, his expression turned somewhat sullen. Without saying a word, he quickly left. The Heavenly Alliance is not a good place to stay. No wonder the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor chose to leave back then. As Mu Zifeng watched Xiao Chun leave, he sighed to himself. The Alliance chief had decided on this. He could not inform Xiao Chun in advance. Swearing Ji, you did well this time. You managed to discover Xiao Chen's weakness. Otherwise, given how cautious he is and how he does things, the hidden guards who were observing him would not have discovered any weakness. Hua Tianyang praised softly. Only when there was a weakness would it be easier to control Swearing Ji. Only then would Swearing Ji feel assured to do some things. Otherwise, Hua Tianyang would not be able to leave this matter to Xiao Chun. Swearing Ji smiled and said, finding the holy relic is Alliance Chief's greatest wish. Naturally, Swearing Ji will do his best. Chapter 2188. When Xiao Chun returned to his residence, he had already calmed down. He had not expected his secret to be exposed. At that time, Xiao Chun felt somewhat stunned. However, after thinking about it, he realized that it might not be a bad thing. Cultivating a demonic Dao cultivation technique had always been a knot in Xiao Chen's heart. Now that it was exposed, he felt much more relaxed. From now on, he would no longer have this knot in his heart. Hua Tianyang was right. The battle between the righteous factions and demonic factions, eliminating demons and protecting the Dao, was ultimately a battle of interests. How could the people of the righteous Dao be so pedantic? How could a faux god have such low standards? Since ancient times, many people had cultivated demonic Dao cultivation techniques. However, most of them did not end up well. On the surface, everyone showed fear. However, who could guarantee that they did not secretly learn or look at demonic Dao cultivation techniques? Even from the perspective of knowing oneself and one's enemy, this was not a bad thing. However, Hua Tianyang's last sentence was even more right. If one was strong enough, no matter what cultivation technique one cultivated, others would not dare to say anything about it. Say anything? If they said anything more, they would kill them. However, if one was not strong enough and did not have any backing, they would be killed if they dared to cultivate it. Speaking of which, killing a demon would increase Xiao Chen's reputation significantly. He would give others a handle to use against him and would not be able to redress his grievances. Big Brother Xiao, your expression seems somewhat off. Did something bad happen when you met the Alliance Chief? Bao asked timidly when she saw that Xiao Chun had not said anything after he returned. Her expression also looked somewhat frightening. Xiao Chun took a sip of tea and replied calmly, "It's fine. The Alliance Chief gave me a heavy responsibility. It is hard to say whether I will survive or not." "Oh," Bauer said, not asking anything more. She just obediently filled Xiao Chen's teacup. As the atmosphere turned somewhat heavy, Mu Zifeng went directly to Xiao Chen's residence. Then, he waved his hand to dismiss Bao. "Big Brother Mu." Xiao Chun stood up. Mu Zifeng gave Xiao Chun a deep look. Then he said, "You should have told me in advance that you cultivated a demonic Dao cultivation technique. Otherwise, if Swearing Ji found out about it, I would not have been forced into such a passive state." Xiao Chun showed a doubtful expression as he said, "Big Brother Mu will be implicated as well." "Of course. Did you think the Alliance Master didn't have a motive for asking if you were one of my disciples?" Mu Zifeng said softly, "Alliance Chief Hua is injured and will retire in a few years. At that time, one of the 7 of us will have to choose the position of Alliance Chief." Suddenly, Xiao Chun felt somewhat tired. He felt very uncomfortable in the Heavenly Alliance. It was much worse than when he was in the Heaven Dragon Palace. There were schemes everywhere, and there were hidden guards at all times. It made people feel a little depressed for no reason. Now, Xiao Chun increasingly understood why the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor left back then. Mu Zifeng was somewhat different from what Xiao Chun had imagined. However, when he thought about it, it made sense. For him to climb to the position of a court doyen, how could he be someone with few desires? "My apologies for implicating Lord Mu. I am truly sorry," Xiao Chun replied calmly. His expression was calm, but he did not show much sincerity in his apology. Mu Zifeng sensed the distance in Xiao Chen's words. He sighed in his heart and stopped dwelling on this problem. "Let's drop this matter. Let's talk about the holy relic. If possible, You have to obtain the dart head yourself. You have to get the most credit. Xiao Chun frowned slightly, feeling displeased in his heart. Mu Zifeng was purposely trying to sow discord between him and Lin Feng. Before the mission even started, he was already scheming. Mu Zifeng observed Xiao Chen's expression and knew what he was thinking. He said seriously, "You might not know this, but the Heavenly Alliance spent a lot of time and resources on this holy relic. For the sake of retrieving the holy relic, Hua Tianyong nearly lost his life. Left with no choice, he came up with this plan. This is the best opportunity. The Heavenly Alliance has been making preparations since the start of this batch of newcomers. After a few rounds of secret screening, we finally decided on you and Lin Feng. Your appearance is simply a heaven-sent opportunity." When Xiao Chen heard that, his heart sank. Does that mean that Mu Zifeng thought of this mission the first time he saw me? Mu Zifeng's shrewdness was somewhat scary. You can say that the core doyen behind whoever retrieves the holy relic will be the next Heavenly Alliance's alliance chief, Mu Zifeng said softly to Xiao Chun. Seeing that Xiao Chun remained silent, Mu Zifeng said indifferently, "I can promise you that if I become the alliance chief, the position of Dragon Emperor will be yours. There are no longer any heroes in this world. It is impossible for you to obtain the position of Dragon Emperor by relying on so-called dreams and emotions. I can tell you this. The forces involved in the position of Dragon Emperor are many times greater than you can imagine. You absolutely cannot become the Dragon Emperor by yourself. You need my support, the support of the Heavenly Alliance's alliance chief." Mu Zifeng did not bother with pleasantries or threatening Xiao Chun. He only explained all the benefits to Xiao Chun. Seeing Xiao Chun reveal a contemplative expression, Mu Zifeng smiled faintly and said, "You are very similar to Peach Blossom. You only want to pursue the martial Tao, not caring about the karma of the mundane world. However, you and I are in the mundane world, so we cannot avoid it. The heavenly realm shattered, and the martial epic no longer has a true god. To think that you talk about the dream of pursuing the peak of the martial Tao. In my opinion, this is rather comical. Of course, I personally admire these people, including you and Peach Blossom. This could be considered the age of decline. True gods of the martial Tao no longer existed. There was no peak, no goal. Several generations of faux gods were already lost. This was the worst age. Mu Zifeng's words represented the thoughts of most sovereign emperors and faux gods. Xiao Chen put down his teacup and said, "Let's not talk about this first. Lord Mu, let's talk about the mission." Mu Zifeng smiled faintly and said, "It is fine if you want to run away. I will not force you. I already said it. Being born in the mundane world, the karma of the mundane world cannot be avoided. You will make your own choice when the time comes." Xiao Chun raised his eyebrows. He knew what Mu Zifeng meant. At this moment, Swearin Ji was probably saying the same thing as Lin Feng. "Let's not talk about this for now. Let's talk about the mission. This is a replica of the Snow God whip. You can take a look." Mu Zifeng took out a long whip that looked like a plum blossom. There was a total of 9 segments, each one looking like a plum blossom branch. In reality, it was made of plum blossoms, supplemented by divine materials and transcendent alloys. When Xiao Chun touched it, he could feel a flourishing life force amid its coldness. It contained an extremely strong life Tao. At the top of the 9-segment plum blossom whip was a dart head flickering with 7-colored light. It looked like the tip of a spear, but it was sharper and more exquisite. Xiao Chun found it somewhat familiar, but he could not recall what it was. Mu Zifeng smiled and said, "You must be very familiar with it. Take out your medallion and take a look." Xiao Chun took out the Heavenly Alliance medallion and immediately understood. The front of the Heavenly Alliance medallion had divine characters made of 7 pieces of metal. This is a 7-color stone. When the Heavenly Alliance was first established, the 7 merchant associations collected all the supreme treasures in the world and refined them into a fantasy divine stone. If not for fear of getting into trouble because of its value, the Heavenly Alliance's Grandmaster-level martial sages could have forged it into a transcendent grade soul tool. Hence, they could only forge it into a dart head, which resulted in the peak superior grade soul tool, the Snow God Whip. Although the other parts of the so-called Snow God Whip are precious, they're not worth mentioning compared to this 7-color stone. Xiao Chen toyed with the Snow God Whip in his hand. Then he gently swung it, and snowflakes immediately drifted down. The scarlet plum blossom whip in his hand looked exceptionally beautiful against the backdrop of the wind and snow. It had its own grace, swaying gracefully in the snow. Since this dart head is so miraculous, aren't you afraid that Lin Feng and I will take it and flee? Mu Zifeng smiled and said, "Don't even think about it. Without a cultivation technique to complement it, you cannot bring out its true might. Furthermore, given the two of your smart, you will not do something so foolish, trying to control a treasure that is not of your own strength." Mu Zifeng was right. Without sufficient strength, controlling such a treasure would only bring disaster upon oneself. The Heavenly Alliance did not have to worry. Furthermore, the two of them had weaknesses. They did not dare to fall out with the Heavenly Alliance. No wonder Hua Tianyang said that this mission was tailor-made for the two of them. To the Heavenly Alliance, the two of them were the best candidates. There was nothing more suitable. After chatting for a while, Mu Zifeng stood up and said, "Let's not talk about the mission anymore. This Snow God Whip replica is a peak Dao tool, no weaker than some inferior grade soul tools. I'll give it to you. There's also this. Take it as well." Xiao Chun received a seed and asked, finding it strange, "What is this?" "This is a rank 9 peony seed, the devastatingly beautiful peony, the king of flowers. The instant it blooms, life force fills the air. It can suppress the Death Dao domain for 1 hour. Even if you do not need it, you can keep it to protect yourself. Of course, I hope that you will take the initiative to use it. After all, who knows what Swearin Ji prepared for him?" Mu Zifeng smiled meaningfully. Then, he patted Xiao Chen's shoulder and turned to leave. Xiao Chen set the seed aside. Then, he picked up the teacup and fiddled with it, thinking about everything Mu Zifeng said. On the other side, as Mu Zifeng expected, Swearin Ji also gave instructions to Lin Feng. "Do you understand everything that I told you?" Swearin Ji's deep voice sounded somewhat hoarse. Lin Feng nodded silently, not saying anything more. Suddenly, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, and he took 2 steps back. Horror flashed in his eyes. A ghostly figure appeared and circled Swearin Ji, making him look even more sinister and cold. Swearin Ji smiled sinisterly. Then, he flicked his finger, and a ghostly figure appeared. It turned out to be a strand of Ho soul. Whoosh! The Ho soul in Swearin Ji's hand turned into an arrow flickering with a green light. It was a bona fide ghost Ho arrow, radiating a frightening chill. Lin Feng could not suppress the horror in his heart, so he had to take another step back. Swearin Ji smiled faintly and said, "Are you afraid? I'm not here to kill you. This dragon-killing arrow is to send that fellow to heaven. After you obtain the holy relic, kill him for me." This little bastard actually dared to reject my invitation back then. He must be tired of living. Now, he even dares to be so close to Mu Zifeng. How reckless! Lin Feng grabbed the dragon-killing arrow flying at him. He felt his soul tremble. This was the innate fear of the dragon race bloodline toward the Ho. However, Lin Feng was Lin Feng, after all. After holding the arrow for a while, a ruthless look appeared in his eyes. Unexpectedly, he suppressed the might of the arrow. "Very good. I hope that you can bring back not only the holy relic, but also Xiao Chen's head." Swearin Ji revealed a satisfied smile. He liked ruthless people like Lin Feng, who were ruthless to themselves and even more ruthless to their enemies. Chapter 2189. After sending off Mu Zifeng, Xiao Chen made preparations for his trip to the Abyssal Underworld and Lin Feng's meeting at the summit of the Abyssal Underworld 3 days later. The two of them nodded slightly and greeted each other. Even though they were both feeling a little strange, there was no trace of it on their faces. They were extremely calm. It didn't take long for Hua Tianyang and the 7 core Grand Elders to arrive. "It looks like you're almost done with your preparations. I won't be able to send you off on this trip. Kuyan, help me send the two of them off." Unexpectedly, Hua Tianyang did not send Mu Zifeng or Swearenji. Instead, another core Doyen Ku Yun did it. This Ku Yun was known as Master Ku Yun. Among the core Doyens, he was in charge of the Heavenly Alliance's blacksmithing and blacksmithing matters. He never competed with others. Follow me. Whoosh! A figure that seemed to have jumped from the other side of the world appeared before the two of them. It was Master Ku Yun. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng followed Master Ku Yun to the Heavenly Alliance's Dao platform. The Netherworld was located beneath the Central World. It was composed of 9 realms and had its own laws. It was equivalent to the dark side and shadow of the Central World. The two were interdependent, and neither could destroy the other. Huh. Xiao Chun, your alloy battle armor seems to have reached 2 stars. Master Ku Yun exclaimed in shock when he saw Xiao Chun's gloves. Lin Feng, who was at the side, also looked over in surprise. The upgrade of alloy battle armor required an enormous amount of resources, and he was still stuck at a 1-star alloy battle armor. Xiao Chun's expression did not change, as he said calmly, I used all the resources in the faux god world on the alloy battle armor. When I returned to the Heavenly Alliance, I asked Lord Mu Zifeng to upgrade it. No wonder. Come, let's head to the Central World first. It was just a small matter, so it was over after a brief mention. Through the Dao platform's teleportation, he arrived at the Central World. Xiao Chun looked at the familiar surroundings and felt slightly shocked. This place seemed to be the Desolate Sea. Desolate City was not far ahead. Is this Barren City? Indeed. We should do our best to keep a low profile. The Desolate Sea is a good place to hide from others. Come, I'll send you to the Abyssal Underworld. Master Ku Yun used his own cultivation to carry Xiao Chun and Lin Feng. Soon, they arrived at a deep chasm. Demonic energy gushed out from the pitch-black abyss. The surroundings were secluded, and there was no one in the wilderness. This was one of the more secretive passageways from the Central World to the Abyssal Underworld. Very few people knew about it. This 10,000 demon abyss is too dangerous and leads directly to the 9th layer of the Abyssal Underworld. Very few people use it. You too should be careful, said Master Ku Yun as he looked at the bottomless abyss filled with unknown dangers. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng exchanged glances. Then, they did not hesitate to jump down. The two of them were no strangers to the Netherworld. Xiao Chun had once carried out a mission in the Heaven Dragon Hall and killed Rakshasa Tion's clone with 1 saber strike. However, at that time, he had gone to the 1st layer of the Netherworld. This time, he was going to the even more dangerous 9th layer of the Netherworld. As for Lin Feng, he was originally a flood dragon human and had been born in the Netherworld since he was young. Coming here was like returning home. Looking at the two of them entering the abyss, Ku Yun fell into deep thought before he shook his head and sighed. Soon, 2 figures descended from the sky. They were Swearenji and Mu Zifeng. Master Ku Yun did not feel surprised at the two's appearance. He just nodded slightly to them. Brother Mu, who do you think will bring back the holy relic in the end? Mu Zifeng replied indifferently. The Abyssal Underworld is very dangerous. Brother Swearin, you should be worried about whether they can return alive. As for finding the holy relic, they have failed for so many years. It would not be strange for them to fail again. Swearenji smiled and said, Stop pretending. You and I both know that the chances of finding the holy relic this time are the highest. However, you are right. We still have to worry about whether Xiao Chun can return or not. That is the most important thing. After all, he has not even opened a divine vein. Lin Feng was once a sovereign emperor expert and grasped the Death Dao domain. He should not have to worry about self-preservation. Mu Zifeng's expression changed slightly. He smiled and said, It looks like Brother Swearin thinks that Xiao Chun will definitely fall in the Abyssal Underworld. Let's see who can return alive at that time. The two clashed with each other, their words containing needles. After exchanging a few words, the atmosphere turned exceptionally hostile. Master Ku Yun did not find this strange. Suddenly, he raised his eyebrows and said, The two of them have already arrived in the Abyssal Underworld. It is time to go. After saying that, Master Ku Yun left first, not lingering. Mu Zifeng and Swearenji both snorted coldly and left at the same time, not leaving any traces behind. At the bottom of the 10,000 demon abyss, Xiao Chun and Lin Feng landed one after another. When they looked around, they saw a desolate scene. Tall shrubs grew on the ground, and dark clouds hung in the sky. A blood moon hung high in the dark clouds. After landing, Xiao Chun sheathed his saber. His journey in the 10,000 demon abyss had not been smooth. There were many ferocious abyssal underworld creatures, especially vampire bats. There were so many of them that it was flabbergasting. If one was not careful, one would end up sucked dry. As Xiao Chun sized up his surroundings, he saw a gushing river at the limits of his vision. There seemed to be the silhouette of a city further away. With a thought, the yin and yang divine energy sea in Xiao Chun's time core flipped over. Now, the divine energy sea surging with demonic qi was revealed. Immediately, Xiao Chun's aura changed drastically. Xiao Chun's eyes turned pitch black, filled with a demonic nature. His entire body gave off an aura that could devour the world, inspiring fear. Xiao Chun could feel the demonic qi divine energy filling his meridians. A violent and bloodthirsty emotion spread throughout his body. This was the first time he allowed the demonic qi divine energy to occupy his physical body without holding anything back, so he was not used to it. After calming down for a while, Xiao Chun's mental state returned to normal. Now, he could deal with the demonic qi divine energy in his body, as well as the violent and bloodthirsty emotion. Lin Feng felt flabbergasted as he watched from the side. In the blink of an eye, it was like Xiao Chun had vanished. A bona fide demonic Tao, sovereign emperor, stood beside Xiao Chun, radiating a frightening aura from all over. The two of you are too big of a target. Let's split up for now. We will meet at the final blood battlefield half a month from now. Lin Feng suddenly spoke before Xiao Chun could stabilize himself, startling him slightly. All right, after thinking about it, separating for now was not a bad idea. So, Xiao Chun nodded in agreement. As Xiao Chun watched Lin Feng leave, he guessed that Lin Feng might be meeting some people or doing some other things in the abyssal underworld. After all, Lin Feng had grown up here and became a sovereign emperor here. This was fine. After all, Xiao Chun could not figure out Lin Feng's thoughts. Furthermore, Lin Feng's Death Dao domain was extremely difficult to deal with. Anyone would be tired of being on guard all the time. Xiao Chun changed into black clothes and a conical bamboo hat. Then, he got the demon blood vulture to perch on his shoulder. His getup was perfect. Xiao Chun chose a different direction from Lin Feng, heading forward. The abyssal underworld had a total of 9 layers. The 9th layer was the most bustling. Aside from the Azura race, which controlled the 9th layer, the elite cultivators of the Rakshasa race and Yiksha race from the other layers gathered there. This was because the Underworld God Hall's main hall was in this 9th layer of the abyssal underworld. Aside from the abyssal underworld's races, there were also many human demonic Tao cultivators in this 9th layer of the abyssal underworld. Most of them were here on experiential training. The demonic Tao cultivators and the abyssal underworld cultivators cultivated very similar cultivation techniques. Hence, they frequently communicated with each other. Along the way, Xiao Chun met with several demonic Tao cultivators. When the Azura race and the other abyssal underworld cultivators saw Xiao Chun, they did not find him strange and did not give him a second look. There was no one in this place except for righteous Tao cultivators. Perhaps there were, but they disguised themselves better. The righteous Tao cultivators and the abyssal underworld's races could be considered mortal enemies. They had fought several times before, wanting to destroy the other side as soon as possible. Unlike Lin Feng, Xiao Chun's understanding of the 9th layer of the abyssal underworld was limited to some information on paper. If Xiao Chun wanted to reach the final blood battlefield, he needed to head to the nearest abyssal underworld city and obtain a map there. Otherwise, who knew how long it would take to find the final blood battlefield if he was blind? For hours later, Xiao Chun arrived before the river at the limits of his vision. That was a scarlet river. The gushing river looked like the rough blood of a demonic beast, looking very uncomfortable. The gushing river was like the sea with horrifying waves. From time to time, layers of ghostly shadows would appear, causing people to tremble with fear. Xiao knew that this was the abyssal underworld's holy river. It held a high and sacred position in the hearts of the abyssal underworld's races. The holy river gushed all the way to the Azura Purgatory. The underworld god hall was above that Azura Purgatory. Even the abyssal underworld's races were not allowed to touch the holy river water. Only those with meritorious contributions or noble bloodlines could enjoy the baptism of the holy river. As for outsiders, that went without saying. Right now, Xiao was a demonic Dao cultivator. He could only obediently wait for the underworld boat on the other side to cross the river. Several cultivators already gathered at the pier. There were many Rakshasa, Yiksha, Azura, and demonic Dao cultivators. Most of them were only star venerates or holy venerates. Even sovereign personages were rare. Xiao spread out his aura slightly, attracting the attention of the crowd. This attracted the attention of the crowd. They kept their distance from him and looked at him with respect. Even the Azura cultivators, the masters of the 9th layer of the abyssal underworld, did not dare to show any disrespect or be impudent. In the abyssal underworld, the respect for the strong was exceptionally exaggerated. The underworld boat docked on the holy river. As long as Xiao did not leave, no one dared to move. After Xiao boarded, the cultivators behind him rushed to board the underworld boat. The surging river water surged. However, the underworld boat, which was not very large, moved against the current like it was on flat land. Xiao stood at the bow of the boat and looked at the river. The river was vast like the sea, boundless. Blood mist and ghostly figures filled the air. Occasionally, he heard the cries of infants and the wails of malicious spirits. That should be a demon blood vulture on that senior's shoulder, right? That should be it. What a strong demon blood vulture. Its bloodline is already starting to revert. How enviable. It would be great if I had such a demonic pet. Recently, many demonic Dao seniors have come to our 9th layer of the abyssal underworld. I wonder why they are here. Who knows? How can we be qualified to participate in the matters of these major characters? The cultivators whispered to each other as they looked at Xiao at the bow. Their words were filled with awe and worship. Xiao felt very satisfied with this. Before he came, he had learned that the abyssal underworld worshipped the strong. If he deliberately kept a low profile, he would end up attracting trouble. The races of the abyssal underworld were all hot-tempered, cold-blooded, and bloodthirsty people. It would be much more convenient to keep a low profile. Not only would no one dare to seek trouble for him, but it would also be more convenient. Greetings, Senior. As Xiao looked at the river, a trembling voice came from behind him. He turned his head and saw a young Azura race cultivator calling out to him. Chapter 2190. The Azura clan had a very interesting characteristic. The nobler the bloodline of this race, the better looking they were, and the higher their status. This was the case for both men and women. If you saw a member of the Azura clan with an ugly appearance, needless to say, his strength and talent would probably be average. This was a race that looked at appearances. With one look, one could tell the status and strength of the Azura race member. The young Azura race cultivator who appeared before Xiao was rather handsome. He had a single horn on his head, snow-white hair, and a pair of eyes that looked like blood jades. "What's the matter?" Xiao asked indifferently as he turned around. That Azura race cultivator calmed himself and said, "I am Luoho Yun from the Luoho clan, one of the 4 royal clans of the Azura race. I took the liberty of disturbing you because I want to get to know you. This underworld boat was forged by my Luoho clan." Under the cloak, Xiao raised his eyebrows. Based on this person's appearance and the many cultivators behind him, it seemed like he was telling the truth. "My family name is Xiao. Young Master Luoho is too polite." Seeing that Xiao did not get angry, Luoho Yun rejoiced. "Senior, please come with me. This is not a good place to speak." Xiao followed the other party to the top of the underworld boat. Luoho Yun received Xiao warmly. Luoho Yun took out some rare and precious fruits that contained a demonic nature and pure demonic spiritual energy. Xiaochen glanced at them and thought to himself, I do not like these demonic nature fruits. However, if I don't eat them, I will easily expose myself. Left with no choice, I can only feed these abyssal underworld spirit fruits to the demon blood vulture on my shoulder. When Luoho Yin saw this scene, he felt shocked. Senior, do you normally use these 1,000-year-old demonic spirit fruits to feed the demon blood vulture? This was not wrong. After entering the Heavenly Alliance, the demon blood vulture only ate 1,000-year-old demonic spirit fruits under Senior Lu's nurturing. Xiao Chun did not deny it. He replied indifferently, It's all right. Luoho Yin felt somewhat flustered. To think that he took out the spirit fruits for feeding demonic pets to receive Senior Xiao. He quickly apologized. I was rude earlier. However, this underworld boat is very simple. I simply cannot take out any decent spirit fruits to receive Senior Xiao. I'm fine. Xiao Qin responded casually. For the time being, he would take it as learning about the Azura race. Among the many races in the Netherworld, the Azura race seemed to have the highest status. Rakshasa, Yiksha, and the other layers of the Netherworld were all servants of the Shura for a very long time. Later on, they slowly grew stronger. However, from the looks of it, even though there were some differences between the Nether Kings and none of them were willing to submit to each other, the Nether Kings were not willing to submit to each other. However, it was undeniable that the Azura race was still the strongest, and they controlled the Underworld God Hall. As they chatted idly, Xiao Chun brought the topic to the final blood battlefield to see if he could obtain any useful information. Final blood battlefield? That place had not been peaceful recently. It was normally a forbidden area, and those who dared to go there were all experts. However, it seems like some incredible treasure appeared this time, attracting the experts of the 9 layers of the abyssal underworld over. There are also many demonic Dao experts from the Xiuwu dynasty. When Luo Yin mentioned the final blood battlefield, excitement flashed in his eyes. However, he quickly extinguished it. Normally, Xiao Chun could not go to the final blood battlefield. Now that it was so chaotic, he could not go. The genes of the Azura race flowed in their blood. They had an innate desire for battle and worshiped the strong. While the final blood battlefield was not peaceful, the more it was so, the more the Azura race cultivators would be curious and hot-blooded. However, Luoho Yin was merely a Cloud Sea star venerate. Even if he went to the final blood battlefield, he could only wander around the periphery. If he dared to enter, there would be only one result, death. Xiao Chun could not remain calm in his heart. Something appeared in the final blood battlefield. Could it be a dart head made of 7-color stone? Do you know what it is? Luo Yin shook his head and said, I'm not sure about that. However, the final blood battlefield was the decisive battlefield between the abyssal underworld and the Great Thousand Realms more than 4,000 years ago. Both sides suffered countless casualties. The only things that could be excavated are the remains of faux gods, soul tools, demonic weapons, and powerful treasures. Normally, most of them are incomplete fragments. I believe that a relatively complete soul tool or strange treasure was discovered this time. Perhaps it is some holy relic of our ancestors. That is all that could be excavated from the battlefield. It should not be natural treasures or rare fruits, right? This little fellow understood rather well. Indeed, that was all that could be excavated from the battlefield. However, Xiao Qin had some misgivings in his heart. If the dart head was really exposed, his and Lin Feng's mission would be somewhat uncertain. After the underworld boat docked, Luo Yin invited Xiao Chun to return to his clan with him, wanting to introduce him to his father. There were 4 Azura kings in the 9th layer of the abyssal underworld. The position of a 9th underworld monarch had always been passed between the 4 royal clans. Xiao Qin guessed right. This Luo Yun's father might be Luo Wang, one of the 4 Azura kings. After the boat docked, Xiao Chun discovered that Luo Yun had a sovereign emperor expert by his side, protecting him in secret. However, Luo Yun himself did not know this. For Luo Yun to be able to send out a sovereign emperor guard, it showed Luo Yun's position in the Luo clan. If Xiao Chun went to meet this Luo Wang and exposed his identity, only death awaited him. However, the other party was a Luo Ho Wang. He would definitely know what happened in the final blood battlefield. That would be of great help to completing the mission. After thinking about it, Xiao Chun chose the former. He could take his time to find out information about the final blood battlefield. Xiao Chun only had one life. If he lost it, it would be gone. Furthermore, Xiao Chun was not very enthusiastic about the mission to retrieve the holy relic in the first place. I have matters to attend to. Never mind. Let's meet again if we are fated, Xiao Chun said indifferently. After saying that indifferently, Xiao Chun slowly vanished from Luo Ho Yun's gaze of worship. Big Brother Hong, how high do you think Senior Zhao's cultivation is? Peak Holy Venerate, Sovereign Personage, or False Emperor? Luo Ho Yun asked one of the guards beside him. I can't tell. However, I always feel on edge when standing beside him. I keep feeling like I will be swallowed up at any moment. I hope we can meet again. To think that I was fortunate enough to meet such an expert today. This is truly incredible. When Luo Ho Yun thought about it, he felt some admiration for himself. To think that he dared to step forward and greet Xiao Chun. The meeting with Luo Ho Yun was just a small interlude in Xiao Chun's journey to the abyssal underworld. His plan had not changed. After arriving at the nearest city and obtaining a map, Xiao Chun rushed to the final blood battlefield. Along the way, Xiao Chun kept an eye out for information about the final blood battlefield. However, there were many rumors about it. There was no definitive answer. Recently, Xiao Chun even heard that righteous Dao cultivators had joined in, startling even the underworld god guards. This gave Xiao Chun a headache. Since he was not familiar with the abyssal underworld, he could not find any reliable information. 3 days ago, Xiao Chun had already arrived at the final blood battlefield. Xiao Chun wandered around the battlefield's periphery a few times, killing some abyssal underworld ferocious beasts that did not know better. At the same time, he familiarized himself with the battlefield's environment. According to rumor, this final blood battlefield was not the only place where the great battle 4,000 years ago took place. Since ancient times, many great battles had taken place here. Back then, the Black Dragon King fought the 9 underworld monarchs here as well. The decisive battle with the demonic Dao cultivators had also taken place here. This was an ancient battlefield with a long history. Just by wandering around the periphery, one could feel the corpse chi that had accumulated for many years. Without reaching the Cloud Sea realm, one would not even be qualified to enter. Even sovereign personages had to be extremely cautious in this ancient battlefield. As for Divine Vein realm sovereign emperors, as long as they were careful, they would not run into too much danger in this ancient battlefield. Even if they ran into someone they could not afford to offend, they should not have any problems fleeing in advance. The truly terrifying ones were the other sovereign emperors who entered this place. These people were far more dangerous than the Forbidden Land itself. Is Lin Feng not coming? It looked like the appointed time with Lin Feng was approaching, but the other party had not appeared yet. The Heavenly Alliance medallion could sense each other's presence. The medallion did not react at all. This meant that the other party was still far from the final blood battlefield. As the blood moon rose, the appointed time passed. Then, Xiao Chun shook his head and entered the final blood battlefield alone. Since the other party had not arrived yet, there was no need to wait. However, Xiao Chun did not notice a spot behind him that his spiritual sense could not detect. A figure slowly put away the bow in his hand on the summit. The arrow flickered with a cold light, looking startling under the illumination of the blood moon. No one knew what would happen if this arrow was fired. However, in the end, the owner of the bow chose not to attack. Chapter 2191. Unable to wait for Lin Feng, Xiao Chun could only enter the final blood battlefield alone. The ancient battlefield was desolate. Broken weapons could be seen everywhere. From time to time, one could see evil spirits and vengeful spirits floating in the air. They all had sinister faces and frightening expressions. They were formed from the resentment of the battlefield and the remnant souls of dead martial artists. Most of them had no intelligence, only a vicious nature and bloodthirsty brutality. However, when these evil spirits saw Xiao Chun, they all ran far away. Their instinctive fear told them that they couldn't provoke Xiao Chun. While waiting for Lin Feng at the edge of the battlefield, Xiao Chun had explored this place a few times and was already very familiar with it. This time, Xiao Chun did not hesitate, directly flying towards the depths of the final blood battlefield. When one reached the depths of the battlefield, one had to be careful. The Tao of many martial techniques from that battle still lingered. It might be a blade of grass, a flower, or even a gust of wind, but contained the remnant martial technique Tao of a faux god realm expert. Of course, what they should be more wary of were the remains that had turned into corpses. The monstrous resentment and demonic chi in this place would cause a corpse to turn into a corpse, and it would display strength no weaker than when it was alive. Moreover, there was no end to killing them. Even if their bones were crushed to ashes, as long as the blood moon still existed, as long as the resentment here didn't scatter, there would always be a time for them to revive. Pa pa pa. Xiao Chun held the replica snow god whip in his hand. As he brandished it, snowflakes drifted down and cold winds blew. She was like a beauty dancing in the snow. However, this beauty had a bad temper. She was so cold that no one dared to approach her. Amidst the thunderous cracking of the whip, a group of zombies that were charging toward Xiao Chun were all frozen and then shattered into pieces. Xiao Chun was somewhat surprised to discover that this was the snow god whip replica that Mu Zifeng gave him. When he drove it with his Ice Dao domain, it was very smooth to use. Suddenly, Xiao Chun frowned slightly and let out a soft cry of surprise. The Heavenly Alliance medallion sensed someone approaching. Aside from Lin Feng, there should not be any other Heavenly Alliance members in the 9th Abyssal Underworld. Turning his head, he saw a cold figure rapidly approaching him. It was Lin Feng. Sorry, something happened. I'm late. After Lin Feng landed, he said calmly. No one could tell what he was thinking from his words. Xiao Chun didn't think too much about it and said in a deep voice, "It's fine. It just so happens that I also discovered something and wanted to tell you. Before I came, I heard that something seemed off with the final blood battlefield. The discovery of a strange treasure startled not only the 9 layers of the Abyssal Underworld, but also the experts of the Xiuwu dynasty." Lin Feng nodded and said, "I was just about to say this. What was unearthed was not the holy relic of our Heavenly Alliance, but the corpse of an ancient demonic sovereign that fell out of space-time crack." The corpse of an ancient demonic monarch? Yes, it's an ancient demonic monarch with the abilities of a true god. It's possible that he fought with someone before and was swept into the space-time flow. Now, he has appeared here. Xiao Chun thought to himself when he heard that. Simply put, a true god's corpse landed in the final blood battlefield. The key point was that this corpse had once been sucked into the space-time flow. Now that it had reappeared, it meant that it had died not long ago. Its value was self-evident. No wonder he hadn't been able to find out about it before. Even among the great forces of the Netherworld, only the top ones would know of such secrets. As for Lin Feng, he used to be in the Netherworld, so he probably knew some of the more secretive intelligence organizations. Since it is not the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic, it has nothing to do with us. Should we split up or continue moving together? Next, they would start searching for the Heavenly Alliance holy relic. The two of them had a jade strip on them. As long as they were within a certain range of the dart head, they would be able to sense it. Although it was like searching for a needle in a haystack, with this jade slip and the speed of a sovereign lord, they would be able to find a sovereign lord. As long as the holy relic was still in the final blood battlefield, he would definitely be able to find it. It was just a matter of time. Let's split up and search. We'll meet up once every 7 days. Cross out the areas that have already been explored so that we don't have to explore again. This way, the efficiency will be very high. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's settled then. After the two discussed, they parted once more in the depths of the final blood battlefield. Searching for holy relics was a very boring task, especially when one had to deal with zombies that appeared out of nowhere. Some of the zombies were even very horrifying. Even with Xiao Chen's strength, he had to avoid them. Of course, what was even more unfortunate was accidentally triggering the remnant Tao of a faux god powerhouse. That was like a faux god traveling through space and time to attack. If one was not careful, one would turn to ashes, dying on the spot. No wonder Xiao Chan had always thought that he could not complete this mission. He was too weak, unable to survive in this final blood battlefield. He was too strong and could not hide himself, easily attracting the underworld god hall's experts. Take Hua Tianyang, for example. He had appeared 9 times in the past and returned empty-handed, nearly dying here. On the other hand, the demon blood vulture was like a fish in water here, incredibly happy. The demon blood vulture could swallow up all demonic nature. When it opened its beak and sucked, it was like swallowing a demonic spirit fruit. With the demon blood vulture as a means of transportation, Xiao Chun had a much easier time in this forsaken place. There, in the depths of the final blood battlefield, a majestic and tyrannical figure appeared in the hazy dust cloud in the distance. The figure's eyes swept through the surroundings. Everyone who met its gaze trembled in fear, not daring to look at it for long. An ancient demonic sovereign. Xiao Chun knew that should be where the ancient demonic sovereign fell. In the past few days, he had seen several abyssal underworld sovereign emperors and demonic Dao experts rushing over. Actually, deep in his heart, Xiao Chun wanted to go and take a look. He had heard that no one had been able to get within 100 kilometers of the ancient demonic sovereign. Even though the ancient demonic sovereign died, the strong demonic gods might still lingered, making it hard for people to move. However, this had nothing to do with the mission, so he could only put it aside for now and not join in the excitement. After 2 months, Xiao Chun still gained nothing in the final blood battlefield. He had no clue about the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic. The dry days could temper his mental state. Xiao Chun discovered that even when he filled his entire body with demonic Dao divine energy, he could freely control his killing intent, rage, and all sorts of negative emotions in the final blood battlefield. During this time, Xiao Chun even saved some demonic Dao experts and Azura race cultivators. Xiao Chun gained some fame. Most of the cultivators who went to search for the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse knew about this loose cultivator. Although this loose cultivator had not opened any divine veins, he cultivated an extremely powerful demonic Dao cultivation technique. He was very strong and skilled in the ice Dao. His whip techniques were extremely strange. "It looks like the thing that I feared the most has happened," Lin Feng said helplessly, sighing softly. The two had already searched every place in the final blood battlefield. Only the place where the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse was left unexplored. Clearly, the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic should be where the demonic sovereign's corpse was. Clearly, the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic should be where the demonic sovereign's corpse was. However, there were already many factions fighting over that place on the surface. It was chaotic, not to mention the experts hiding in the dark. I heard that with the various experts working together, they can already get within 10 kilometers of the demonic sovereign's corpse. Xiao Chun suggested softly, "Perhaps we can wait a little longer. After they deal with the demonic sovereign's corpse, we can make our move." It looks like that's all we can do. However, just at this moment, a strange light flashed in the two's eyes. Then, they each took out a jade strip. The jade strip flickered with a multicolored light. The two looked in the same direction at the same time. Lin Feng said sullenly, "That's impossible. I already searched that direction. How could the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic be found there? It is moving." Whoosh! The demon blood vulture flashed with light and turned into a beam of scarlet light, flying quickly in the air. Xiao Chun sat on the demon blood vulture's back and got it to quickly fly in the direction of the holy relic. In such an environment, the demon blood vulture was even faster than a regular sovereign emperor. It should be able to help Xiao Chun take the lead. However, Xiao Chun clearly underestimated Lin Feng. The instant Xiao Chun moved, Lin Feng stood on the demon blood vulture's back together with him. "Brother Lin, if this demon blood vulture carries 2 people, it will be slower," Xiao Chun said, feeling somewhat upset. Xiao Chun said somewhat unhappily. This fellow reacted rather quickly, directly jumping onto the demon blood vulture's back. This prevented Xiao Chun from making a move. Lin Feng glanced at Xiao Chun, showing an expression that said, "You understand, I understand, don't pretend to be confused." Then, he said indifferently, "That is still faster than me." When a holy relic appeared, whoever gained the initiative would definitely snatch it first. "Stop!" Xiao Chan was about to say something when he sensed an extremely strong aura. He quickly ordered the demon blood vulture to stop flying in the clouds. Lin Feng frowned slightly as well. The two felt that something was wrong. When the two squinted, they saw a group of Azura race cultivators 500,000 kilometers below. Even the weakest of them was a sovereign personage. This was especially so for the person in the middle. His strength was extremely horrifying, at least a 3-vein sovereign emperor. Someone who could condense 3 divine veins was already extremely strong among sovereign emperors. 1 divine vein equaled 1 heaven. At the very least, the current Xiao Chun and Lin Feng were not a match for this person. Luoho, sovereign emperor. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly as he recognized this 3-vein sovereign emperor. It was an old acquaintance. Xiao Chun also recognized Luoho, sovereign emperor. Luoho, sovereign emperor, rode a tall, mutated beast. Another person rode a mutated beast beside him, walking shoulder to shoulder. This was Luoho Yun. After recognizing Luoho Yun, it was not hard to guess Luoho, sovereign emperor's identity. However, all this was not the important point. The important point was the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic. It was currently adorned as a crown on Luoho Yun's head. When Xiao Chun saw this, he could not help breaking down. It turned out that he had been working for nothing in the past 2 months. Someone had discovered the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic long ago. However, it seemed like these people did not know how miraculous the holy relic was. Chapter 2192. The holy relic that the Heavenly Alliance was searching for was actually an ornament on Luoho Yun's crown. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng didn't expect this at all. This meant that the sacred item had been discovered long ago. The two of them had been working hard for nothing. Lin Feng muttered, "Looks like this Luoho king is also here for the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse. As a loose cultivator, you should be able to sneak in, wait for an opportunity to snatch the dart head, then leave immediately without caring about anything else." When Xiao Chan heard this, he felt somewhat helpless. Snatching the holy relic from Luoho Wang's side is easier said than done. With Luoho Wang's strength, even if we work together, we might not be able to defeat him. I can't care so much anymore. If you manage to snatch the relic, I'll cover for you. With our strength, it shouldn't be a problem for us to block him together. Lin Feng was very confident in his and Xiao Chen's strength. Then it settled. Xiao Chan was also a decisive person. He couldn't think of any good ideas in such a short period of time. For now, he could only do this. Lin Feng turned around and leaped into the clouds, leaving Xiao Chun alone on the demon blood vulture's back. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chun got the demon blood vulture to turn into a beam of scarlet flame and purposely flew past Luoho Wang's group. Senior Xiao, indeed, Luoho Yun, who was beside Luoho Wang, immediately shouted excitedly when he saw the demon blood vulture. Luoho Wang had a face even more handsome than Luoho Yun's. He raised his hand to stop the group from advancing. Then he looked at the scarlet flame flying over and asked, "Do you know that demonic cultivator?" Luoho Yun nodded and said, "Father, this is the senior Xiao that I told you about. I met him by chance on the underworld boat. Unexpectedly, we met again here. I wonder if he heard me calling out to him." Luoho Wang thought for a while before saying, "The final blood battlefield is currently a gathering place. It is not surprising that this demonic cultivator is here. With his cultivation, he should have heard your voice. As for whether or not he will come to see you, that's hard to say." Luoho Yun rejoiced. "In that case, Senior Xiao will definitely come." Luoho Wang shook his head, but he smiled and did not say anything. Devil cultivators were usually cold-blooded people who killed without batting an eyelid. How could they really have any friendship with you? Even if he came, it would be because of me, King Luoho. Xiao. The scarlet flame flashed, and the demon blood vulture carrying Xiao Chun flew back. "Father, I told you. Senior Xiao will definitely return." Luoho Yun said joyfully, appearing very excited. King, should we stop him? Luoho Wang slightly waved his hand and said, let him come over. Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor experts would attract attention no matter where they went. If this person didn't have any special background and was willing to join his team, he would have a higher chance of success. Under the cloak, Xiao Chan exchanged glances with Luoho Wang and said in a deep voice, this Xiao greets Luoho Wang and young Master Luoho. Luoho Wang smiled faintly and said, your eyes are pretty good. I heard from my son that you are a demonic Dao Lu's cultivator. What is your purpose in coming to this final blood battlefield? Xiao Chen replied calmly, I don't think I need to report my purpose in coming here to King Luoho. How dare you not answer King Luoho's question? A guard below immediately scolded, dissatisfied with Xiao Chen's attitude. Where does that insignificant sovereign personage get the courage to scold me? Xiao Chen snorted coldly. Dyed by his demonic Dao veritable essence energy, the snow god whip instantly coiled around this person's neck like a pitch-black venomous snake. Xiao Chan gently whipped the whip, wrapping it around the guard. Then, he smashed the guard heavily to the ground. This guard grabbed the whip with both hands, wanting to undo it. However, his body instantly got sealed in ice, unable to move. Clang! All of a sudden, the Azura guards tensed up. They drew their weapons and released killing chi. Their auras locked onto Xiao Chun, waiting for Luoho Wang to give the order to attack. Luoho Yin had never seen such a lineup before. Furthermore, he had never seen Xiao Chun make a move before. Unexpectedly, Xiao Chun was so strong. The sovereign personage guard that Luoho Yin normally found incredibly strong actually could not last one move against Xiao Chun. Luoho Yin was too shocked, somewhat at a loss. On the other hand, the two sovereign emperor experts beside Luoho Wang remained calm and indifferent. How dare you? What have I taught you normally? When a sovereign emperor speaks, you are not qualified to interrupt. Put away your weapons, Luoho Wang shouted. King Luoho barked, and the group of guards hurriedly sheathed their weapons. When Xiao Chun saw the situation, he heaved a sigh of relief. In this rundown place, no one would listen to you or believe you if you spoke nicely. You directly showed your strength. The stronger you were, the more people would respect you and trust you. It looked like Xiao Chun had made the right bet. Otherwise, if this group of people started fighting, he would not be able to remain in this final blood battlefield. After removing the seal on the Azura guards, Xiao Chun casually waved his hand, and the whip sent that guard back to his mount. Because he wanted to meet Luoho Wang, Xiao Chun had already changed the dart head of the snow god whip replica to avoid attracting the other party's attention. When Luoho Wang saw the snow god whip, he did not think much of it. After all, it was just a peak Dao tool. What Luoho Wang truly valued was Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun was arrogant, unruly, and ruthless. If not on account of Luoho Wang, the person who shouted at him would have died already. Meeting this person here should just be a coincidence. After all, Luoho Wang's group set off with light equipment, bringing only 2 sovereign emperors and many sovereign personages. Yet they arrived at the final blood battlefield in one day. If the other party knew about this in advance, that would be too terrifying. Furthermore, when Yin first came into contact with the other party, it was Yin who took the initiative to seek out the other party. I will take my leave first. Originally, I was curious about why young Master Luoho came to this final blood battlefield. Now, I understand after seeing Luoho Wang. After saying that, Luoho Wang turned and left, not lingering. Father, why did you not leave him behind? Luoho Yin could not help grumbling. My king, this person should be a loose cultivator who came to the final blood battlefield to try his luck. However, he probably underestimated the divine might of the demonic sovereign corpse and did not gain anything. Since he is a loose cultivator, he should be useful if we offer him great benefits. The 2 sovereign emperor subordinates sent a voice projection to Luoho Wang, giving him their suggestion. Loose cultivators valued benefits. As long as there were sufficient benefits, one could keep the other party around and use him. Luoho Wang entered deep thought. Then his figure flashed. In the next moment, he suddenly appeared before Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun feigned shock. He asked seriously, "King Luoho, what is the meaning of this?" Luoho Wang smiled and said, "Mr. Xiao, don't overthink. I want to make a deal with you. If you're willing, I can give you an inferior grade soul tool, or 50,000 kilograms of origin liquid. You can choose." Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. He asked sullenly, "Could it be that you want me to scout ahead? Too many factions are targeting the ancient demonic sovereign corpse. If I go, I will just be seeking death. Even if you give me 10 soul tools, I will not go." Luoho Wang said seriously, "Don't worry. I just want you to protect my son. Consider this 25 kilograms of origin liquid a deposit." After saying that, Luoho Wang tossed a jade bottle to Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun casually caught it. After thinking for a while, he nodded slightly and said, "If it is just to protect young Master Luoho, this deal is doable." "Good. It's a deal then. After the matter is over, I will definitely reward you greatly." Whoosh! After a while, Luoho Wang and Xiao Chun returned to the group. Then, Luoho Wang said softly, "Mr. Xiao will be traveling with us from now on. Everyone, do not be rude to Mr. Xiao. If the two lords and I are not around, you will have to listen to Mr. Xiao." Luoho Wang's orders confused these sovereign personage guards. However, they still obeyed. "Let's go. Give Mr. Xiao a savage beast." Riding on Luoho Wang's mutated beasts, Xiao Chun and the others quickly headed for the ancient demonic sovereigns group. Xiao Chun discovered that the 3 sovereign emperors, including Luoho Wang, appeared very anxious. As they rushed, they kicked up dust clouds. This appeared somewhat strange, raising suspicions. This Luoho Wang seemed to fear that someone else would snatch away the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse before him. There were only 3 sovereign emperors in Luoho Wang's group. Clearly, they were traveling light, not wanting to startle the other 3 Azura kings and other stronger factions. In the middle of the night, Luoho Wang and the other 2 sovereign emperors went out to scout, wanting to see the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse. Xiao Chun took this opportunity to ask Luoho Yun, "Young Master Luoho, this final blood battlefield is so dangerous. Why did your father bring you here?" Luoho Yun smiled and replied, "I begged him to come. Father said that it would be good for me to see the world. However, you don't have to worry about my safety. The crown on my head is a peak defensive soul tool that Father forged for me. Even if a sovereign emperor charged over, I would be able to protect myself." When Xiao Chun heard that, he naturally did not believe it. Even Luoho Wang might not be able to control the situation here. Unless the older generation experts of the Luoho clan made a move, they might be able to control the situation. However, that would definitely startle the older generation experts of the other factions. At that time, the factions near the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse would be even more chaotic. However, under the cloak, Xiao Chun saw the Heavenly Alliance holy relic on Luoho Yun's crown. This was an opportunity to take the holy relic and flee far away. Chapter 2193. This was indeed a chance to take away the Heavenly Alliance's holy relic. However, it was too risky. Luoho Wang did not know when he would return. If the group of sovereign personage guards delayed him for even a moment, he would be in big trouble. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chun chose to give up. He changed the topic and started chatting with Luoho Yun. After a while, Luoho Wang and the 2 accompanying sovereign emperors rushed back. Xiao Chun rejoiced that he had not chosen to make a move. The situation is not good. There are really many experts. Luoho Wang and the 2 sovereign emperors discussed the situation. They frowned heavily and did not look optimistic. Unexpectedly, the Rakshasa race and the Yiksha race are here. However, fortunately, we did not expose ourselves. Luoho Wang revealed a faint smile as confidence flashed in his eyes. As long as the other 3 Azura kings do not come, this ancient demonic sovereign's true god flame will most likely be mine. Xiao Chun felt somewhat suspicious when he heard that. Luoho Wang should not have much desire for the true god flame. The most valuable thing about the true god flame was the expert's inheritance it contained. Furthermore, Luoho Wang already possessed the strength of a three-vein sovereign emperor. If Luoho Wang received another inheritance, it would be hard to guarantee that it would not conflict with the Luoho clan's original inheritance. At that time, Luoho Wang would have to make a decision about whether to give up on his cultivation or not. The gains might not make up for the losses. Moreover, he was already old enough. It was hard to say if he would have enough time to cultivate a new inheritance. Or rather, Luoho Wang would only be able to accomplish this much in his lifetime. At best, he would be a six-vein sovereign emperor. Obtaining the true god flame would be a waste, unable to bring out its greatest value. Of course, perhaps Luoho Wang only cared about the divine might and soul energy contained in the true god flame, which could strengthen his divine seal. However, was there a need to take such a huge risk just to strengthen his divine seal? Luoho Wang only brought 2 sovereign emperors. Clearly, he wanted to make a sudden move, taking out the true god flame without startling the other 3 Azura kings. Xiaochen looked around and fixed his gaze on Luoho Yun. Then his eyes lit up. Suddenly, he understood something. If he left the true god flame's inheritance to Luoho Yun, everything would be different. Luoho Yun was young, no more than 20 years old, but he was already a star venerate. Talent, comprehension ability, and bloodline went without saying. If he could obtain this great opportunity, it would be like ascending to the heavens in a single step, and his future would be limitless. No wonder Luoho Wang dared to take the risk of bringing only 2 sovereign emperors traveling light. Mr. Xiao, take this. As Luoho Wang's thoughts wandered, he took out a black talisman and handed it to Xiaochen. This is for hiding. We will be heading to where the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse is in 4 hours. Are the people of the Shuowu dynasty already impatient and are about to make a move? Shuowu dynasty. Yes, this group of people seems to be determined to obtain the corpse of the ancient demon monarch. However, since the corpse has appeared in the 9th underworld, this group of demonic cultivators is destined to be one-sided. When Xiaochen heard this, he was slightly startled. He looked into the distance, where the ancient demonic monarch's monstrous divine might condensed into a majestic figure. Was he finally going to get close? Although Xiaochen had been in the final blood battlefield for a long time, he had not truly gotten close to the demonic sovereign's corpse. At that time, there is no need for Mr. Xiao to make a move. Mr. Xiao just needs to protect my son, Luoho Wang said seriously as he looked at Xiaochen. Luoho Yun smiled and said, Father, go in peace. With Senior Xiao around, I will definitely not be in any danger. Luoho Yun was very confident in Xiaochen. He was even more confident in his father. Be it his father or Xiaochen, they were both unrivaled existences in Luoho Yun's heart. This little fellow simply does not understand the gravity of the matter. Luoho Wang looked at Luoho Yun with doting eyes. This time, he took the risk because of Luoho Yun. Luoho Wang wanted to give Luoho Yun a future that surpassed that of the Azura King and the Azura race. Let's go. Xiaochen activated the black jade strip, and demonic qi immediately shrouded his entire body. His aura merged perfectly with the surroundings of the final blood battlefield. Interesting. This jade strip is really miraculous. Given this, even a faux god would find it hard to discover them. At this moment, to others, Xiaochen's group was like the baleful aura and resentment of the final blood battlefield. Soon, the group felt the ancient demonic sovereign's horrifying might and pressure. Their footsteps slowed. Xiaochen frowned slightly. Even in death, this fellow still possesses such divine might. How terrifying. When the group was only 5,000 kilometers away, Xiaochen and the other sovereign emperors could already see the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse. This corpse wore scarlet battle armor, and his body was as huge as a small mountain. His eyes glared furiously as black demonic qi continuously spread out from his corpse, materializing thousands of mysterious phenomena. Many overwhelming ferocious beasts materialized by demonic qi stood around him, looking like they were alive, inspiring fear. Many factions stood 10 kilometers away from the demonic sovereign's corpse amid the demonic might, finding it hard to advance. Luoho Wang whispered to Xiao Chen. Of these factions, the ones we really pay attention to are the Rakshasa race, the Yiksha race, and the Shu dynasty's group. The leaders of the Rakshasa race and the Yiksha race are experts under Rakshasa Tian and the Yiksha king. They are two vain, sovereign emperors. As for the Shu dynasty's group, they seem to be from the royal court. If I recall correctly, the leader should be the current dynasty's 8th prince. As for the others, they're just some stragglers. There's no need to fear them. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. There seemed to be another strong faction in the surroundings. However, like Luoho Wang and the others, they were all in hiding, waiting for an opportunity to make a move. As for those stragglers, Xiao Chun felt that something was wrong. With his sharp spiritual sense, he noticed that there seemed to be people of the righteous Tao disguised as demonic cultivators among them. If Luoho Wang was overly confident and rashly made a move, the consequences might be dire. However, Xiao Chen did not dare to be certain. If he said it, Luoho Wang would suspect him, so he could only keep it to himself. At the same time, the various factions made their final preparations, waiting for the divine might of the demonic sovereign corpse to slowly weaken. The Rakshasa race group had 2 sovereign emperors and several heaven-defying sovereign personages. They stood 10 kilometers away. The Rakshasa race cultivators looked at the demonic sovereign corpse helplessly, unable to get any closer. Lord Feng Sun, we can't get any closer. The leader was a sovereign emperor with 2 divine veins. His family name was Feng Sun, and he possessed horrifying strength. As for the other sovereign emperor, his strength was ordinary. Feng Sun said after some thought, "It looks like we can only think of a way after this demonic might weakens. However, it looks like the Shu dynasty's people have other plans." A sovereign emperor at the side nodded and said they might have a holy tool that can break the demonic might. However, they do not seem confident, so they have not made a move yet. After some thought, Feng Sun said, "Let's see how capable this group of demonic cultivators of the Shu dynasty are." On the other side, the 2 Yiksha race sovereign emperors also looked at the Shu dynasty's group. Not only that, but the rogue cultivators wandering nearby and the factions hiding in the dark also looked at the group of people. Back then, Xiao Chun blinded the Shu dynasty's 8th prince Li Yun in the desolate sea's Azure Mountain town, forcing him to flee in a sorry state. Now, Li Yun's eyes had recovered. Not only that, but he was also a sovereign emperor. Li Yun must have cultivated in a secret realm in the demonic Dao Hall. Otherwise, his cultivation would not have increased so quickly. This time, he probably intended to take away the demonic sovereign corpse and make a comeback. Senior Tang, are the holy tools not ready yet? The 8th prince Li Yun stood 10 kilometers away, showing a somewhat crazed expression as he looked at the demonic sovereign corpse. The 8th prince could feel the gazes of many sovereign emperors on his group. He smiled coldly in his heart, not minding it. Although the abyssal underworld sovereign emperors of the various races did not get along, they were still people of the abyssal underworld. But in any case, they were all from the netherworld. If they were to fight, it was obvious that they would first get rid of this group of demonic cultivators. The 8th prince had already thought of this before coming, so he did not panic. "Your Highness, it is not time yet. We are not completely confident yet. The holy tools can be used at any time." However, Li Yun asked sullenly, "However what?" This old man is still somewhat worried about whether Yin Songming's group is reliable or not. The 8th prince Li Yun smiled and said, "There's no need to worry. Even in his dreams, this fellow wants the flood dragon humans to have a foothold. I gave him a conferred land in the central Great Realm. There is no way he could reject it. In that case, this old man can rest assured. We can use the holy tools at any time with your Highness's command." Li Yun scanned the surroundings indifferently, finally locking his gaze on the demon monarch's corpse, regardless of how many people were hiding in the dark. He did not care what the Rakshasa race and Yiksha race experts thought. As long as he used the holy tools, everything about this ancient demonic sovereign would belong to him, Li Yun. Chapter 2194. The sky of the abyssal underworld was perpetually covered in dark clouds. Light rarely shone in the final blood battlefield. It seemed like time moved more slowly in such an environment. If one cannot calm down, one would easily feel restless. This was the case for the eighth prince, Li Yun. When he saw the demonic might not weaken at all, he cursed, "Damn it! Why is it still not weakening? Old Tang, I can't wait any longer. Give me the sacred tool." Clearly lacking confidence, Elder Tang said, "Your Highness, if the sacred tool forcibly breaks the demonic might, it will not last for long. If we wait for the demonic might to weaken before using the sacred tool, we will be able to obtain the demonic sovereign corpse." Wait, wait, wait. How long? The longer we wait, the more variables there will be. This prince has already waited for more than 2 months. I can't wait any longer. Give me the sacred tool. The eighth prince said somewhat irritably, showing rage on his face. Elder Tang sighed. After thinking about it, this made sense. The longer he waited, the more variables there would be. Taking out the sacred tool in a situation that no one expected might have a miraculous effect. After consoling himself, Elder Tang took out the sacred tool. It was a strange weapon, the Scarlet Moon, a scimitar that looked like a crescent moon. The interior of the crescent moon was very complicated, looking like a skeleton connected together. The entire moon was close to 3 meters long, looking incredibly huge. It gave off a strange demonic might. Elder Tang showed a serious expression as he started to drive the Scarlet Moon. The divine characters on the skeleton seemed to come to life. Soon after, blood seeped out of the crescent moon. The entire moon looked like an ancient, ferocious beast coming to life. Roar! In that instant, everyone in the entire final blood battlefield heard a terrifying, ferocious roar in their hearts. This is... Xiao Qian's body trembled slightly as shock flashed in his eyes. As he looked in the eighth prince's direction, he saw a scarlet moon slowly rising. At this moment, nearly all the factions in the final blood battlefield looked over. Indeed, he brought out the Shu dynasty's sacred tool, the Scarlet Moon. Luoho Wang muttered, not showing much surprise in his eyes. "Scarlet Moon? What is that?" A sovereign emperor at the side asked, feeling confused. Luoho Wang said softly, "The dynasty's sacred tool is refined using a secret technique. I heard that the entire Shu dynasty refined only 10 of them. For a short period of time, it can make this saint tool reach the might of a peak medial-grade soul tool." While Luoho Wang was speaking, the eighth prince also made his move. He pushed the blood-colored crescent wheel with all his might. Boom! The dazzling blood-colored divine energy turned into crescent scimitars that forcefully split apart the demonic might and carved out a path. So, Li Yun's figure flashed, and the originally insurmountable barrier was broken. In an instant, he advanced 100 meters. The Shu dynasty experts behind quickly followed, not moving an inch. Following Li Yun's forceful breakthrough, the originally flourishing demonic might weaken slightly. Even with the blazing demonic might, it was hard to avoid being affected. Should we make a move? A Rakshasa, sovereign emperor, asked Feng Sun. Clearly, these people could no longer sit still as they watched Li Yun slowly approach the demonic sovereign's corpse. Feng Sun crossed his arms and replied indifferently, "There's no rush. The demonic might has not weakened to the point where we can make a move. When he is halfway there, we should be able to make a move. If that is all he is capable of, he can forget about snatching away the demonic sovereign's corpse." Undercurrents immediately surged. An overwhelming aura accumulated in the dark. Once it erupted, it would be earth-shattering. Xiao Qian did not care about this. He was thinking, where is this brat Lin Feng hiding? Xiao Qian looked around and did not discover Lin Feng. He did not have any talisman to hide his aura. However, when Xiao Qian thought about it, he realized that this fellow comprehended the horrifying death Great Tao. It would not be impossible for him to hide in this final blood battlefield. Actually, Xiao Qian had never considered this question. Would Lin Feng be interested in this demonic sovereign's corpse? If Lin Feng was interested, then this game of Go would be even more interesting. All the experts present, both in the open and in the dark, felt very tense. Only Xiaochen remained as calm as still water, appearing indifferent. Luoho Wang, who was at the side, slowly showed a grave expression on his handsome face. His hands trembled slightly. The silly prince, Luoho Yun, seemed to sense this atmosphere as well. His originally cheerful mood slowly turned somewhat tense. No matter how stupid Luoho Yun was, even a fool could sense that the atmosphere was unusual. Luoho Yun seemed to already know that this operation was not as simple as bringing him here to broaden his horizons. Father, Yun is a little afraid. In reality, Luoho Yun's expression turned somewhat unsightly when the eighth prince took out the sacred tool. Luoho Yun was the weakest here. The instant that sacred tool appeared, even Xiao Chun felt fear in his heart. What more an insignificant star venerate like him? Only sovereign emperors could participate in this game of Go. Sovereign personages could barely be considered cannon fodder. Star venerates could not even be considered cannon fodder, just air. Luoho Wang revealed a smile on his tense face. He said softly, "Don't be afraid. Your father is here. Furthermore, with Mr. Xiao around, no one can hurt you." Luoho Yun seemed to understand. He asked sullenly, "Father, what are you going to do later?" Luoho Wang stared at the ancient demonic sovereign corpse and said, "I'm going to fulfill my promise to your dead mother. Just wait in peace. Father will return after killing them. Your Majesty, we will definitely protect little prince's safety to the death." The group of sovereign personage guards said in unison, sounding somewhat solemn. Xiao Chun sighed in his heart. "You're just a group of cannon fodder. If something really happens, it will be hard for you not to die." Luoho Wang felt somewhat helpless. As he looked at the group of sovereign personage guards, some words did not need to be said. With just one look, everyone understood. This group of guards also knew that they were cannon fodder. At best, they would only give Luoho Yun more time to flee. However, they still followed willingly. Such loyalty was hard to come by. "Mr. Xiao." Luoho Wang shifted his gaze and fixed it on Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun did not wait for Luoho Wang to finish. He said seriously, "Luoho Wang, don't worry. Lu's cultivators value benefits. I will definitely do my best to fulfill my promises. In that case, I'll leave it to Mr. Xiao. This is the remaining origin liquid. If you can return, come to my residence. I will give you an inferior grade soul tool." Luoho Wang handed over a jade bottle containing another 10 tons of origin liquid. "Your Majesty, they're going to attack." The two sovereign emperors at the side, who had been watching the situation closely, said softly. Luoho Wang's expression immediately changed. After handing the jade bottle to Xiao Chun, he focused all his attention on Li Yun, who was about to reach the ancient demonic sovereign corpse. Heavenly Cloud, Dawn Chop, Evil Wind Palm, Breaking Blood Sword. At the same time, the sovereign emperor experts of the Rakshasa race and the Yiksha race attacked first. The loose cultivators roaming the surroundings also attacked at this moment. In that instant, 10 odd sovereign emperors launched their attacks at the same time. Rumble. Immediately, all sorts of Dao domains clashed. Thousands of mysterious phenomena appeared, causing the sky to change color and the ground to tremble. Xiao Chun felt the talisman concealing his aura being affected. The baleful aura that he gave off rippled chaotically. However, at this moment, even if there was some chaos, it would not matter. No one paid attention to them at all. The scene of 10 odd sovereign emperors attacking at the same time was too shocking. Even for Xiao Chun, this was his first time seeing this, which shocked him slightly. The Tao might containing a divine nature appeared at the same time, temporarily suppressing the ancient demonic sovereign's overwhelming demonic might. Ha ha! When facing so much pressure, Li Yun, who had the sage tool hovering above his head, did not panic. Instead, he laughed. His laughter contained lofty sentiments and hot-bloodedness. He said loudly, "Senior Tang, bring people to retrieve the demonic sovereign corpse's parts and essence blood. Leave the true god flame to me. I will deal with these people." The sage tool's might rose another level, reaching its peak. It burst out with the might of a medial grade soul tool. However, this was not the most horrifying thing. The most horrifying thing was that Li Yun's bloodline was perfectly compatible with that sage tool. It was like a medial-grade soul tool, bringing out 80% of its might. Li Yun relied on the Shu dynasty's sage tool to block 10-odd sovereign emperors by himself. I've been waiting for you for a long time already. No matter who comes today, don't think of stopping me from obtaining this demonic sovereign corpse. I will reign supreme under the blood moon. After blocking 10-odd sovereign emperors, Li Yun laughed somewhat arrogantly, his laughter filled with cockiness. Feng Sun and the other two vain sovereign emperors gritted their teeth in anger. This Li Yun was nothing in their eyes. However, the sage tool's might was too strong. Even though they were two vain sovereign emperors, they could only barely block Li Yun's attacks. Everything proceeded according to Li Yun's plan. Suddenly, winds and clouds blew, and the aura of a ruler surged out. Luoho Wang revealed himself, riding a bloodthirsty savage beast and holding a golden saber as he rushed over. Scatter! Those who block me will die. Luoho Wang's strength as a three-vein sovereign emperor stood at the top. He led his two sovereign emperor subordinates and charged forward, sweeping through everything in his way. No one dared to block him. Luoho Wang. It's Luoho Wang. Why is he here? Damn it. Why is he here instead of guarding his conferred land? Damn it. Is this fellow crazy? A person's name was like a tree shadow. The moment Luoho Wang, one of the four Azura kings, appeared, he shocked everyone, attracting everyone's attention. Chapter 2195. The moment Luoho Wang appeared, his strong aura and vast accumulations as a three-vein sovereign emperor shocked everyone. When the two sovereign emperors charged over, no one dared to block them. Luoho Wang instantly inflicted severe injuries on some of the slower sovereign emperors, sending them flying back. Their survival was unknown. The strongest sovereign emperor present was only a two-vein sovereign emperor. As for Luoho Wang, he had been a three-vein sovereign emperor for many years. Of the 9 divine veins, every 3 was a threshold. If one could cross it, it would be a whole new world. If one could not, one would be stuck. While divine vein realm sovereign emperors were said to have 9 grades, in reality, there were only 3. Within 3 divine veins, one would be considered a small perfection sovereign emperor. After 3 divine veins, one would be considered a great perfection sovereign emperor. After 6 divine veins, one would be considered a consummation late-stage sovereign emperor. Luoho Wang's 3-vein cultivation could be said to be at peak small perfection. He had been stuck at this bottleneck for many years. Unless a great perfection sovereign emperor appeared, no one would be a match for him in a one-on-one fight. Although there were many sovereign emperors present, most of them fought for themselves, like a plate of loose sand. Shocked by Xiao Qian's aura, how could they dare to stop him? Luoho Wang only had one target, which was Li Yun, who had the dynasty's saint weapon on his head. His goal was even simpler, to kill him and seize the ancient demonic monarch's true god flame. But it wasn't easy to make it a reality. After all, Li Yun had used his own strength to block the terrifying attacks of 10-odd sovereign emperors earlier. The strength of a sage artifact was evident. When he saw Luoho Wang appear, a trace of undetectable panic flashed across Li Yun's arrogant eyes. He wasn't sure if the sage artifact could stop Luoho Wang, who was at the peak of 3 meridians. His fate would be even more miserable. It was hard to say whether he could even withstand 3 moves from Luoho Wang. Insignificant prince, how dare you behave atrociously in my Azura underworld? Quickly scram. Otherwise, don't blame this king for not giving the Shu dynasty face. Luoho Wang's handsome face was overflowing with domineering aura. His eyes were filled with shocking, killing intent. The accumulations of a king's might unintentionally spread out, causing Li Yun to feel immense pressure and even waver. However, when Xiaoqian thought about it, he remembered that he had Yin Songming's help in secret. It was not impossible for him to fight. Furthermore, the demonic king's fire of the true god was his only chance to make a comeback. He could not give it up. Having made up his mind, Li Yun's heart no longer wavered. He bellowed. Today, even if the king of hell from the 9th level of the underworld comes, don't dream of making me retreat. Luoho Wang, since you dared to show yourself, then I shall have a taste of your Azura tactics. Under the blood moon, only I am supreme. Li Yun shouted and pushed the might of the sage tool to its limits. The scarlet moon above his head looked like a blood moon hanging high in the sky. The image of a dynasty quickly materialized on the back of the moon wheel. Rumble. The foundation of the ancient dynasty was activated by Li Yun at this moment. A shocking demonic might erupted from his body, as though he had grown tens of thousands of feet tall. Woo! Screams of agony echoed in the air. The savage beast that Luoho Wang and the other two were riding on suddenly died. Luoho Wang's indomitable aura was actually forcefully forced back. Their auras clashed, and this part of the world began to tremble. Woo 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 woo. The countless ancient war souls that had settled in the final blood battlefield for 10,000 years seemed to be startled awake. True cries came from the depths of the ground. There were even war drums that transcended time and space, sounding like thunder, ringing out endlessly. This made one's bloodline swell, and their battle hunger and souls burned. I'll deal with this fellow. The two of you go to the demonic sovereign's corpse. Luoho Wang instructed, getting his two sovereign emperor subordinates to stop Li Yun's subordinates from attacking the ancient demonic sovereign's corpse. You want to get past me? Forget about it. Lonesome Moon lives alone. When Li Yun saw the situation, he immediately attacked, wanting to block the two sovereign emperors. Boom! The moon will send out a scarlet light, encasing the two. Then, Li Yun threw two palm strikes. The thousands of scarlet shadows in his palms immediately turned into layers of crescents, charging at the two Azura sovereign emperors. The crescents were like blood. As they spun, light and shadow changed. Scarlet light flickered endlessly within 5,000 kilometers. Earlier, these thousands of crescent moons blocked the many sovereign emperors, making them flustered and fatigued from dealing with them. Every crescent looked like a true blood moon, containing the vast might of a dynasty. With the support of the scarlet light, Li Yun's doubt domain reached peak 3rd layer, appearing startlingly mighty. Luoho Wang snorted coldly, and a slender saber appeared in his hand. As the saber light moved, a force that could uproot mountains and rivers erupted from Luoho Wang's body. With his strong 3-vein sovereign emperor cultivation, he forcefully broke these two terrifying palm strikes. The two Azura sovereign emperors quickly took advantage of this opportunity to get under the ancient divine emperor. Elder Tang and the others felt shocked. They had no choice but to stop what they were doing and fight these two Azura sovereign emperors. Damn it, Luoho Wang, you spoil my plans. I'll fight it out with you. Sensing Luoho Wang's strength, a crazed look flashed in Li Yun's eyes. His figure flashed, and he actually took the initiative to attack Luoho Wang. Luoho Wang's expression did not change as he dealt with Li Yun calmly. It would not be easy to deal with this crazed Li Yun, who wielded a sacred tool. The two of them quickly clashed, and a terrifying shockwave rippled out continuously. The other spectating sovereign emperors immediately moved back. Of these two, one was a 3-vein sovereign emperor, and the other was a madman wielding a dynasty's sacred tool. Neither was easy to deal with. No one dared to interfere in the huge battle. The scattered shock waves were not easy to deal with. Xiao Qin's expression changed slightly. He was already certain that aside from the experts of the Rakshasa race and the Ikshar race, there were definitely righteous Tao cultivators among the loose cultivators in disguise. When those loose cultivators retreated earlier, Xiao Qin had sensed a familiar aura. However, he could not recall where it was. Let's go. Not daring to take the risk, Xiao Qin led Luoho Yun far away. The Rakshasa race and the Ikshar race still harbored the thought of Luoho Wang and Li Yun injuring each other and taking advantage of the situation. Hence, they did not retreat far. Xiao Qin felt that something was wrong. He did not want to target that ancient demonic sovereign either. So, he led Luoho Yun far away, continuously retreating. Senior, I want to see my father. I don't want to leave. Luo Yun was worried about his father's safety, so he resisted somewhat. However, Xiao Chun could not be bothered to explain, forcefully pulling him far away. They kept retreating until they were 500,000 kilometers away. Even then, they could still hear the earth-shaking sounds of battle. Little Prince, stop messing around. Mr. Xiao is doing this for Little Prince's safety. Luo Yun only stopped after retreating 100,000 kilometers. The group of sovereign personage guards quickly consoled Luo Yun, who had been making a fuss along the way. Luo Yun's eyes turned somewhat moist. I don't care. I want to see my father. I don't want anything to happen to him. I want to go back. As Luo Yun spoke, he actually started crying. The group of sovereign personage guards could not do anything, feeling somewhat flustered. Xiao Chun could no longer stand by and watch. He ferociously stretched out his hand and flung Luo Yun off the savage beast's back, causing Luo Yun to fall heavily to the ground. You are a man. What is the point of crying? If you go back, you will die. If you want to die, I will kill you now. Xiao Chun snorted coldly and released his killing intent, scaring the group of sovereign personage guards. Luo Yun also panicked. Mr. Xiao, don't be angry. Little Prince lost his mother when he was young. He grew up with King Luo and had a deep relationship with him. It is hard to avoid some. The group of sovereign personage guards quickly explained, thinking that Xiao Chun really wanted to kill. Xiao Chun sighed when he heard that. Then, he said softly, since your father handed me to you, I have to take responsibility for you. The demonic sovereign corpse land is much more complicated than you imagine. You are just a star of venerate. Going there is simply seeking death. In the end, Luo Yun was not a fool. After being scared by Xiao Chun, he recovered his wits. However, he asked, Senior, will my father be fine? Xiao Chun did not feel confident. If he really had confidence in Luo Wang, he would not have retreated so far away. Xiao Chun had made such a decision because he felt that something was wrong. That should be the case. Luo Wang is a three-vein sovereign emperor. It should not be difficult for him to survive. That was all Xiao Chun could say. Right after he spoke, he suddenly felt the dynasty's accumulations in the distant scarlet moon weaken for a moment. This is... Not caring much, Xiao Chun opened a vertical eye on his forehead under the conical bamboo hat, activating his heavenly eye. Xiao Chun's vision continuously expanded. Finally, the scene of the demonic sovereign corpse land appeared before him. Cracks appeared in the scarlet moon above Li Yun's head. The dynasty's sacred tool seemed to be on the verge of breaking. Xiao Chun immediately rejoiced. Something must have happened when Li Yun forcefully broke the demonic might. Otherwise, the dynasty's sacred tool would not have lasted until now. Li Yun's crazed expression instantly paled in fright. He cursed as though he was trying to say who betrayed him. Seeing that he could not defeat Luo Wang and that the sacred tool could not hold on any longer, Li Yun merged the sacred tool into his body and retreated quickly. Luo Wang snorted coldly. Then he wanted to pursue and kill Li Yun in one go. However, just at this moment, something strange happened. Xiao Chun's heavenly eye suddenly felt a piercing light, and a trace of blood appeared. Xiao Chun gritted his teeth and grunted. Then, he quickly closed his heavenly eye, showing an uncertain expression. The instant the intense light appeared, Xiao Chun saw the person who attacked. It was the profound heaven's holy son, Wenrinyu. Mu Yunzhu and Gu Yuhan, who had conflicts with Xiao Chun in the faux god world, stood beside Wenrinyu. When the three worked together, they seemed to activate some kind of secret treasure, instantly erupting with a Tao might that surpassed that of the dynasty's sacred tool. No one had expected such a scene to unfold. Although Luo Wang had been wary of others attacking in secret, he relaxed his guard when he saw Li Yun's defeat. Furthermore, he had not expected such a strong attack. Although Xiao Chun did not see what happened later, he could guess what happened. After Luo Wang suffered such an attack, he was surrounded by 10-odd sovereign emperors. His situation was definitely not good. Chapter 2196. A piercing light lit up the entire final blood battlefield like the blazing sun. Even from 1,000,000 kilometers away, one could see the intense light and dazzling eyes. The light was too dazzling, blinding people temporarily. Aside from the intense light, they could not see anything else. When the intense light faded, Luoho Yun exclaimed in shock, "Light Dao domain. It's a righteous Dao cultivator. Why would righteous Dao cultivators appear in the final blood battlefield? Are these people tired of living?" After the group of sovereign personage guards startled to their senses, they showed worry on their faces, clearly feeling ill at ease. How can it be like this? Did Luoho Wang think of it? What a terrifying light Dao domain. It is even stronger than the 8th prince's sacred tool. Although the light only appeared for a short while, not as long as the sacred tool's might, the might it erupted with was much stronger than the sacred tools. Luoho Yun and the other Azura race cultivators could not help feeling nervous. Anyone would worry about Luoho Wang's safety under such circumstances. Xiao Qin's expression had already recovered its calm. Before he came, he had heard rumors of righteous Dao cultivators in the final blood battlefield. However, these people hid very well, mixing in with the demonic Dao loose cultivators and deceiving them. The demonic Dao loose cultivators were humans, and so were the righteous Dao cultivators. As long as they hid their auras, others would not notice them if they did not. Furthermore, the baleful auras in the final blood battlefield were chaotic, easily disrupting the perception of cultivators. "Let's go. This place is no longer safe," Xiao Chun said softly. Luoho Yun and the others had not seen it, but Xiao Chun had personally seen Luoho Wang get struck. Xiao Chun did not know what the situation was now, but he was certain that Luoho Wang could no longer control the situation. "No, I want to go and find Father. I'm not leaving. Something must have happened to Father. I want to go and save him." Luoho Yin showed a flustered expression, his eyes bloodshot. Perhaps it was because of the father-son connection, but he felt that Luoho Wang's current situation was terrible. Speaking of which, Luoho Yun had been rather miserable. Before coming here, he had not known anything. He had really thought that his father had brought him here to broaden his horizons. He had not expected such a cruel thing to happen. Xiao Qin frowned slightly. Emotionally, he could understand Luoho Yun. However, rationally, he had to leave. Luoho Yun tried to flee. However, he was trapped in Xiao Qin's Taiji force field, unable to move an inch. His demonic essence surged all over his body as he howled, but he still could not move. "Damn it! Let go of me! Let go of me!" Luoho Yun shouted angrily, cursing Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun could not be bothered with him. He calmly ordered, "Capture him. Let's go." The group of sovereign personage guards knew that Xiao Qin's actions were correct. Although they felt dissatisfied with Xiao Chun, they still did as he said. However, Luoho Yun suddenly became stubborn. He said, "Let go. If any of you dare to touch me, I will die in front of you. Little prince, don't be stubborn. Listen to Mr. Xiao and let's go." That's right. With the king's strength, there's no need to worry about self-preservation. At that time, if he comes out and sees that something has happened to you, little prince, then it will be troublesome. Luoho Yun refused to obey no matter what. He kept nagging that something must have happened to his father. Something must have happened. Xiao Chun sighed softly. "Let him be. We will wait here for King Luoho." Xiao Chun understood Luoho Yun. After a 20-odd-year-old child erupted with emotions, he would inevitably lose his rationality. If Xiao Chun forcefully brought Luoho Yun away, something bad might happen. Since that is the case, so be it. Xiao Chun felt helpless in his heart. King Luoho really gave him a tough job. Xiao Chun could not be bothered with anything else. Then, he closed his eyes and cultivated peacefully on the demon blood vulture's back. Xiao Chun only spread out the Taiji force field. No matter how hard Luoho Yun tried, he could not struggle free. If Luoho Yun grew tired, he would naturally stop. 2 hours later, Xiao Chun suddenly opened his eyes. He saw a horrifying demonic might surging towards him from the fog-covered battlefield. However, if one carefully sensed it, one would discover that this aura was already a spent force. Luoho Yun held on to his last breath and rushed forward. Indeed, when Xiao Chun could sense it with his spiritual sense, he discovered that this aura came from Luoho Wang. Luoho Wang rushed over with all his might. A group of sovereign emperors chased after him. The surprising thing was that the profound heaven's holy son, Mu Yunzhu, and Gu Yuhan were among this group of people. These demonic Dao cultivators, abyssal underworld sovereign emperors, and righteous Dao cultivators actually worked together to chase after Luoho Wang. On the demon blood vulture's back, Xiao Chun entered deep thought. Luoho Wang forcefully obtained the true god flame? After thinking about it, this was the only possibility that could make the various factions put down their differences and work together to deal with Luoho Wang. Boom! A strong wind blew, scattering the demonic fog for 5,000 kilometers around. Then, Luoho Wang's figure appeared before Xiao Chun and the others. Wounds covered Luoho Wang's body. The huge wound on his chest, which still gave off a profound white light, was the most ghastly sight. Along the way, Luoho Wang forcefully carved out a bloody path. From a distance, it looked like a scarlet river spanning 5,000 kilometers. Father, the somewhat distracted Luoho Yun erupted, tears flowing down his cheeks. Xiao Chun scattered the Taiji force field, and Luoho Yun struggled free. Then, he started running frantically. Protect Luoho Wang. The group of sovereign personage guards could no longer hold themselves back. They all rushed out to block the group of sovereign emperors. When Luoho Wang saw Luoho Yun, he squeezed out a smile on his handsome face. Then, he leaped into the air and arrived before Luoho Yun. Pusi. However, the instant Luoho Wang landed, he fell to the ground with a plop. Then, he vomited 3 mouthfuls of blood and coughed endlessly. Miserable shrieks rang out. The sovereign personage guards could not resist these sovereign emperors, instantly dying miserably. However, this group of sovereign personage guards was very ruthless. Before dying, they chose to self-detonate, making things difficult for the sovereign emperors. Whoosh! The demon blood vulture turned into a beam of scarlet light and arrived beside Luoho Yun and Luoho Wang. Luoho Wang could no longer speak. Luoho Wang tightly held Luoho Yun's hand with one hand and tightly clenched the other, showing no signs of letting go. Yet Luoho Yun looked at Xiao Chun. His eyes were red from crying as he said, "Senior, can you save my father? I beg you. I beg you." Xiao Chun said in frustration, "How could a bona fide, 3-veined sovereign emperor die so easily? If Xiao Chun handed over the true god flame, would these people dare to kill him, Luoho Wang?" The Luoho clan also had older generation faux god experts. They were just children, yet they made it seem like they were parting forever. This made Xiao Chun feel a little sour. While Luoho Yun spoke, Luoho Wang already appeared weak. He did his best to raise his head and look at Xiao Chun. There was no need for words. Xiao Chun could tell what Luoho Wang wanted to say from Luoho Wang's eyes. Luoho Wang wanted Xiao Chun to protect Luoho Yun and let him inherit the true god's inheritance. Xiao Chun did not say anything. It was not that he was indifferent. It was just that he was a Heavenly Alliance member. Right now, he only needed to take away the Heavenly Alliance holy relic. There was no need for Xiao Chun to cause other trouble and take the risk of becoming enemies with so many sovereign emperors. Luoho Wang could not say anything. However, heavy sorrow appeared in his eyes. Now, it seemed like his life force was starting to fade. If one's heart died, even if one's body was fine, one would be no different from a dead person. Luoho Wang's final look touched the softest and weakest thing in Xiao Chun's heart. Xiao Chun thought of the faux god world. He thought of facing Lu Ryue for 5 years in Fiend Cloud Hall, suffering unspeakable pain. Xiao Chun thought of the days when his heart broke out like a living dead. The demonic fog lingered in the ancient final blood battlefield. Strong winds blew endlessly, dark clouds lingered, and a blood moon hung high. The souls of the deceased seemed to sing a sad song of the past in the howling wind, coldly watching the story of the day. The sad song remained forever. The battlefield never changed. The story was still the same. However, the heroes changed wave after wave. Sooner or later, we will all become heroes legends, and later generations will recite our stories. Luoho Wang, are you a sentimental person as well? In that case, I, Xiao Chun, will help you this once. Xiao Chun nodded silently under the conical bamboo hat. When Luoho Wang saw Xiao Chun nod, he put down the bamboo hat and closed his eyes. Luoho Wang released his tightly clenched left hand, and the black flame immediately struggled free. Then it slowly rose and hovered in the air. A dark demonic sovereign was always accompanied by fear. However, this black flame before Luoho Wang was dazzling, looking as pure as a star or gem. It actually looked somewhat holy. The 10-odd sovereign emperors behind immediately went crazy. However, not all the sovereign personage guards had died yet, still self-detonating. Even if they wanted to go forward, they did not dare to act rashly. Only Luoho Yun hugged Luoho Wang, crying his heart out. This silly fellow did not even know what agreement his father made with Xiao Chun. If the White Dragon King were here, he would definitely rejoice that he had a daughter. Giving birth to such a silly son was truly frustrating. Don't cry. Your father is not dead. Xiao Chun leaped down and grabbed the true god flame with one hand. Then, he used his other hand to carry Luoho Yun and Luoho Wang onto the demon blood vulture's back. When Luoho Yun heard Xiao Chun's words, he did not get angry at all. Instead, he exclaimed, "Senior, my father is fine?" Xiao Chun explained. Then, he cut to the chase. Your father's injuries are just too severe. His body automatically entered a protective state, and he chose to forcibly sleep. When he recovers, he will naturally wake up. Don't say anything or ask too many questions. Take off the crown. Without sufficient intelligence, communication was difficult. Luoho Yun did not dare to say anything more. When he heard that his father was fine, he relaxed and did as Xiao Chun said, taking off the crown. Xiao Chun received the crown and glanced at the dying sovereign personage guards. Then he said calmly, "Let's go. Don't be foolish enough to jump down. You and your father will be fine." Luoho Yun startled awake. "Senior, what about you? Come with us. I'll bring you to the Luoho royal residence." There was nothing wrong with having good intentions. However, being brainless was not right. Xiao Chun felt helpless. "If I go with you, can you still leave?" Xiao Chun could not be bothered to explain. He opened his left hand and looked at the ancient demonic sovereign's true god flame. Then, he made a move and forcefully separated the inheritance flame from the divine nature flame. Then, he gently tapped the ancient demonic sovereign's inheritance flame and entered Luoho Yun's forehead. Before Luoho Yun could let out a startled cry, the demon blood vulture turned into a flash of scarlet flame and soared into the sky. Xiao Chun did not care for the ancient demonic sovereign's inheritance. However, the divine nature it contained was a great supplement to Xiao Chun. After giving Luoho Yun the inheritance and leaving behind this divine nature flame, Xiao Chun fulfilled Luoho Wang's promise. Boom! Suddenly, a strong wind blew, accompanied by an overwhelming aura. It kicked up sand and nearly blew Xiao Chun into the air. Without needing to look, Xiao Chun knew that the group of sovereign personage cannon fodder should be all dead. The 10-odd sovereign emperors no longer held back, directly charging over. Xiao Chun did not say anything. He only removed the 7-color stone from the crown, revealing the complete shape of a dart head. Then, he replaced it with his snow god whip. Back then, Hua Tianyang had shaken the world with the snow god whip, gaining fame and turning the Heavenly Alliance into a super faction. Now the snow god whip was complete again. Even without a secret technique, as long as he could bring out 10% of its might, he would not fear this group of small fries. The many sovereign emperors looked at Xiao Chun, not acting rashly. Everyone had more or less heard of a mysterious demonic cultivator with a mysterious identity and strange whip techniques. However, they did not expect him to be with the Azura King. The Shu dynasty's 8th prince leaped out and shouted, "No matter who you are, hand over the true god flame, and I'll spare you from death." 8th prince, it looks like your eyes are not completely healed. You can't even recognize me. Xiao Chun smiled faintly and casually tossed off the conical bamboo hat on his head. Then his black clothes exploded, revealing his white robes and long hair fluttering in the wind. "It's you. It's Shao Chun, Lord Feng's son. He is Shao Chun, the Shao Chun who killed Rakshasa Tion's clone back then." When the eighth prince clearly saw Shao Chun's appearance, he was so shocked that his jaw nearly fell off, completely stunned. The profound heaven's holy son, Mu Yunju, and Gu Yuhan were equally shocked. The shock in their hearts was indescribable. Those Rakshasa cultivators also recognized Shao Chun. This was the dragon race cultivator that Rakshasa Tion wanted dead. Kill him. The group of Rakshasa cultivators could no longer suppress the murderous intent in their hearts. They roared, and 10 odd sovereign emperors charged at Shao Chun at the same time. Shao Chun snorted coldly in his heart. Then he said, "All of you withdraw for this Shao." Shao Chun grasped the snow god whip with his right hand and gently swung it. Immediately, the scarlet whip, which looked like plum blossoms, gave off a startling crack in the air. "Pa!" The talisman scripts in the whip came to life. The instant the crack rang out, the 7-color dart head gave off a magnificent light. Suddenly, pear blossoms filled the land. That crack of thunder caused snowflakes to fill the sky, covering the vast land. The 10 odd sovereign emperors felt their souls tremble as they vomited a mouthful of blood. At the same time, the crack of thunder knocked them back. Chapter 2197. What whip is this? The group of people were scared out of their wits. Just a single thunderbolt had shaken them all away and even wounded their souls. Boundless white snow covered the ground, making the final blood battlefield look like a world of ice and snow. White covered the entire world. The baleful aura and resentment that lingered on the battlefield seemed to be covered up for now, vanishing without a trace. The might of the snow god whip startled the group of sovereign emperors. Shao Chun was similarly shocked. However, after this strike, he felt like some of his soul was sucked out. The soul energy in his divine seal drained a lot. "It looks like I forced myself to use this snow god whip. I wonder how long my soul energy can last. However, it should be enough to deal with these people. Humph! Let's see what you are up to." The 8th Prince Li Yun roared, unwilling to submit. Then, he brought out the Scarlet Moon and charged at Shao Chun again. Elder Tang, who was beside Li Yun, also charged over, trying to use the Shu dynasty's sacred tool to suppress Shao Chun. "No matter the price, I have to kill him today." Shock flashed in the profound heaven-holy sun's eyes. Back in Peach Blossom City, he had not truly cared about Shao Chun. However, now that Shao Chun showed such elegance, the profound heaven-holy sun sensed danger. If Shao Chun obtained the true God Flame, it would be terrible. As the profound heaven-holy sun spoke, he gritted his teeth. Then, an astrolabe appeared in his hand, and he swung at the sky. As the astrolabe spun, it turned into a vast star chart that covered the entire sky. Stars flickered, and a river of stars surged. Covered in starlight, One Rinyu charged over again in a flash. Shao Chun raised his eyebrows. When he saw that astrolabe, he recalled some matters. He could not help saying, "One Rinyu, it turns out that you were the one who came to steal my ethereal immortal palace key in the Heavenly Fragrance's residence." The mystery was finally revealed. Shao Chun could not help feeling shocked. This fellow really hid himself deeply. One Rinyu retorted coldly, "So what? After today, you will be a dead man. Could it be that you can report me to the Heavenly Fragrance's holy daughter?" "Shao Chun, we'll settle the score between us today." Gu Yuhan and Mu Yunju hated Shao Chun to the bone. Back at the faux god world's god conferring platform, Gu Yuhan, Mu Yunju, and the others got chopped in half by Shao Chun. If not for their master begging the Holy Lord to help, they would have died long ago. The experts of the Rakshasa and Yiksha clans calmed their souls for a moment before charging over. After being knocked back by the thunderclap, these sovereign emperor experts no longer dared to hold back. They either took out their soul tools or executed their secret techniques. For a time, many Dao domains joined together and pressed down on Shao Chun. He wanted to suppress Shao Chun's aura. He executed all sorts of killing moves, vowing to kill Shao Chun. Xiao Chen did not panic. He activated his fourth-layer thunder, Dao Domain, and used all sorts of secret techniques to deal with the attacks. The snow god whip in his hand continuously unleashed might. Pa! 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 Immediately, heavy snow flew, and thunder crackled. Xiao Chun brandished the whip, the snow god whip changing thousands of times, dazzling everyone's eyes. Thousands of plum blossom petals surrounded Xiao Chun. Against the backdrop of the heavy snow, the plum blossoms looked as vibrant as fresh blood, looking poignant and beautiful. Using the might of the snow god whip and the supreme dragon fist, Xiao Chun fought the 10-odd sovereign emperors without falling into a disadvantage. However, Xiao Chun knew that this was only temporary. When he drained his soul energy and could no longer swing the snow god whip, only death awaited him. I need to end this quickly. Xiao Chun looked around and fixed his gaze on the 8th Prince Li Yun. Li Yun scolded, "Little mixed blood dragon, what are you looking at? Once your soul power is completely exhausted, this prince will definitely tear your body apart and extract your soul." Xiao Chun smiled coldly in his heart. Of these people, Li Yun was the weakest. Furthermore, Li Yun had fought a huge battle with Luoho Wang and was no longer at his peak. Who knew where he got his confidence to be so arrogant? You overestimate yourself. I'll start with you. Xiao Chen's figure flashed as he dodged Wen Yu and Mu Yunju's attacks. Then, he shook his hand, and the flexible snow god whip suddenly charged at Li Yun like a venomous snake. The plum blossoms exploded, and the dart head made of 7-color stone turned into a beam of light as it shot out. It expanded infinitely in Li Yun's eyes, shattering the crescent moon that Li Yun sent out and piercing into his forehead. Just as the dart head was about to strike Li Yun, a figure rushed over. "Your Highness, be careful." It was Elder Tang. He flew forward and blocked this sure-hit attack. Pucci! The instant the dart head entered Li Yun's forehead, a crisp bang rang out. Li Yun's head exploded into powder, and he could not be more dead. Bang! The dart head did not lose any momentum, knocking Li Yun, who was behind, into the air. Li Yun vomited a mouthful of blood, and the scarlet moon above his head fell to the ground. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and beckoned, collecting that scarlet moon into his storage ring. Now is the time. This moment of distraction gave the other sovereign emperors a great opportunity. They locked onto Xiao Chun at the same time, launching all sorts of killing moves at close range, sweeping away 1,000 armies. Xiao Chun roared as he infused his soul energy into the snow god whip. The snow god whip became like a spear as it swept out. In an instant, the various killing moves broke. The shattered mysterious phenomena filled the air, and shock waves spread out. Xiao Chun felt that if he continued to use the snow god whip in such a gradual manner, he would exhaust himself to death sooner or later. "I'll go all out." Gritting his teeth, Xiao Chun activated his great desolate Ian bloodline and entered the state of martial and soul as one. Then, he brandished the snow god whip without any care for his soul energy. Pa! A thunderclap shook the sky. The snow god whip split a demonic Dao loose cultivator, who had yet to open a divine vein, in half. Pa! 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 Without any care, Xiao Chen's soul energy drained like a gushing river. He appeared to be in a frenzy. However, the horror of the snow god whip was fully revealed. Every time the whip landed, it tore open a crack in the ground. Terrifying demonic chi came out of the cracks. As the snow god whip lashed out madly, it was as if the world itself was shaking. It was as if the world was collapsing and no one dared to block it. Pucci! Cracks appeared in Wen Yu's star chart. Even though she managed to avoid the danger, she still managed to escape. Even though Wen Yu managed to avoid the danger, the whip still tore his flesh, causing him to shriek miserably. As the crazed Xiao Chun held the snow god whip, he looked like a demon god descending upon the world. In just a short moment, this boundless land had been shattered into pieces, and the earth quaked and the mountains swayed. Without exception, the many sovereign emperors were all covered in wounds. The sovereign emperors who had not opened a divine vein could not even block one whip, instantly dying miserably, their souls extinguished. Go, go, go. This fellow is crazy. The demonic Dao loose cultivators were all frightened out of their wits. They no longer dared to linger and fled. No one knew what would happen to them if they got struck. No one dared to gamble on whether they would die or not. Let's go. After all, we did not come to this final blood battlefield for the demonic sovereign corpse. It is not worth losing our lives here. We still have time. When Wenren saw the cracks in the star chart, and the whip images whipped him into a miserable state, he did not dare to linger. After communicating with Gu Yuhan and Mu Yunju, Wenren quickly retreated. Gu Yuhan and Mu Yunju could no longer hold on. After receiving the voice projection, they quickly fled. As the world crumbled, Xiao Chun gave chase while holding the snow god whip. Xiao Chun did not know how long he could last. He needed to inflict severe injuries on these people, killing as many as he could. Otherwise, he would be the one to die. This was advancing as a way to retreat. After chasing for 2 million kilometers, Xiao Chun stopped only when he could no longer see anyone. After overdrawing on his soul energy, the backlash started. Black cracks appeared on Xiao Chun's face as if his soul would scatter. Gritting his teeth and snorting coldly, Xiao Chun took out the ice-fire lotus platform and sat down cross-legged. Then he opened his left hand, which he had kept tightly closed during the battle. Without hesitation, he quickly sent the black divine nature flame into his forehead. Boom! The exhausted blue dragon divine seal, which was crying piteously for food, instantly received great nourishment, frantically absorbing and refining this divine nature flame. Unable to care much, Xiao Chun refined the divine nature flame on the spot. Then he closed his eyes and circulated his energy. A scene of 10,000 dragons flying in the sky and diving into the ground appeared behind him. The ancient demonic sovereign's divine nature flame far surpassed Xiao Chun's expectations. After an entire night, he managed to refine only 10% of it. However, this 10% allowed his soul energy to return to its peak, go even higher. If he could completely refine it, he wondered how great of an opportunity it would be. However, Xiao Chun had no choice but to stop now. A person had appeared on the ice-fire lotus platform. Xiao Chun opened his eyes and saw Grim Reaper Lin Feng walking over. The other party showed a calm expression, not showing much emotion on his face. Lin Feng had been around all this while. Xiao Chun knew that Lin Feng had many opportunities to kill him when he fought the Tenad sovereign emperors. However, Lin Feng did not make a move. Clearly, Lin Feng was not a sinister person, someone who did not like to kill people behind their backs. Lin Feng only showed up now because he wanted to wait until he recovered before making a proper move. When Lin Feng arrived 50 kilometers before Xiao Chun, he stopped moving rhythmically. As he walked over, Xiao Chun could not feel any killing intent or aura. The instant Lin Feng stopped, the aura of the Death Dao domain turned into an overwhelming killing intent surging toward Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun's divine seal flickered. 3 Dao domains of the Ice Dao, the Thunder Dao, and the Saber Dao instantly appeared, layering over each other and blocking the aura of the Death Dao domain 25 kilometers away. Whoosh! The instant the 2 terrifying auras clashed, they silently merged into the surroundings, entangling with each other. I know that you will definitely not hand over the holy relic. Let's make a bet. Whoever wins will take the holy relic and leave. Lin Feng said slowly, enunciating every word as he looked at Xiao Chun. As Lin Feng spoke, a green arrow image coiled around his right hand like a snake, flickering with a ghostly light. Xiao Chun flipped his hand and caught the seed that Mu Zifeng handed him with 2 fingers. Then he nodded and said, sure. Chapter 2198. One move. In the end, Grim Reaper Lin Feng was a hot-blooded man. Back then, before Xiao Chun entered the battlefield, he already had a chance to make a move. Yesterday, when Xiao Chun fought with others, he had many more chances to make a move. However, Lin Feng still did not choose to make a move. He waited until Xiao Chun recovered to his peak and appeared before Xiao Chun. Actually, one could figure it out after thinking about it. This person betrayed the underworld god Hall for a woman, destroyed his cultivation, and then started cultivating again. It was hard to say what kind of person Lin Feng was, but he was definitely not a despicable person who liked to sneak attack. The two both had great killing moves. Xiao Chun had the divine grade peony seed that Mu Zifeng gave him, and Lin Feng had the dragon killing arrow forged by the ghost hoe. Deciding the victory in one move was very likely to decide life and death in one move. On the Ice Fire Lotus platform, Xiao Chun slowly stood up and activated his alloy battle armor. At the same time, Lin Feng's alloy battle armor also activated. The silver battle armor, coupled with the black death chi, looked somewhat strange. The two did not dare to be careless. Xiao Chun had already experienced how horrifying the Death Dao domain was. Back then, when Xiao Chun fought the Flood Dragon human Yin Songming, he had experienced it. It was extremely difficult to deal with. Similarly, Lin Feng did not dare to underestimate Xiao Chun. This was especially so when the other party had a great killing weapon like the Snow God Whip. However, Xiao Chun did not place much hope on the Snow God Whip, as cracks had already appeared on the seven-color stone. It was already impossible for the Snow God Whip to bring out yesterday's might. However, it was still the strongest move that Xiao Chun could rely on. It had a miraculous effect on countering the Death Dao domain. The two looked at each other from 50 kilometers away. Before they started fighting, their auras had already started clashing. Xiao Chen's three Dao domains layered over each other. Lightning, ice, and saber intent intertwined, merging into every corner of space. The surrounding 50 kilometers looked calm. However, in reality, there were two auras clashing in the air. However, they canceled each other out, resulting in a silent scene. When the two truly made a move, their Dao domains with divine seals erupted, shaking the ground and mountains. See, SSS. Xiao Chun raised his eyebrows. He saw strands of black fog spreading out from the ground behind Lin Feng. With one look, he knew that this was the materialization of the Death Dao domain. The mist was so thick that everything behind him seemed to have disappeared. Not even light could penetrate it. A huge black hole appeared, making one's heart palpitate and tremble. They were about to make their move. Xiao Chun understood that this was the prelude to Lin Feng's attack. He tightened his grip on the Snow God Whip. Suddenly, without any warning, the two attacked at the same time. Xiao Chun activated his great desolate Ian bloodline and instantly infused most of his divine energy into the divine grade peony seed in his left hand. Lin Feng stretched out his right hand and condensed his divine essence into a bow. The black fog behind him condensed into a huge figure. Like a grim reaper, it also condensed into a bow with great pressure. Fallen peony, fallen petals profusion, touch of death. Xiao Chun shouted as the peony seed in his hand suddenly bloomed. In that instant, the peony blossomed and countless petals danced in the surroundings. A boundless life force swept out in all directions like a ferocious beast. The instant the peony blossomed, the Snow God Whip gave off a thunderous sound. Then, it turned into a dragon that pierced through the petals and shot towards Lin Feng. The instant Xiao Chun attacked, his heart trembled. Fear from his bloodline spread throughout his body, causing him to tremble slightly. Xiao Chen's great desolate Ian bloodline actually panicked. This was a familiar fear. Xiao Chun immediately startled to his senses. It was a ghost hoe. This was not an ordinary ghost hoe. It was a 10,000-year-old ghost hoe that a faux god expert had modified using a demonic Dao secret technique. Then, Lin Feng infused his Death Dao domain into it. Now, a dragon-killing arrow was knocked on the bow. Whoosh! That dragon-killing arrow and Xiao Chen's Snow God Whip attacked at the same time, without any delay. Shock flashed in the two's eyes. They had both underestimated their opponent's trump card. The ghost hoe was the nemesis of the dragon race. However, Xiao Chun did not fear an ordinary ghost hoe. However, this dragon-killing arrow had a 10,000-year-old ghost hoe as its foundation. Swearin Ji personally refined it using a demonic Dao secret technique. Then, Lin Feng drove it with his Death Dao domain. Its might had long surpassed Swearin Ji's expectations. Even Swearin Ji had not expected this dragon-killing arrow to have such a horrifying aura when driven with the Death Dao domain. Lin Feng had not expected Xiao Chun to take out a peony seed when he attacked, either. As the boundless life force swallowed, the force field formed by Lin Feng's Death Dao domain instantly weakened, and its defense plummeted. Pussy-eye. The two could not react in time. The moment they attacked, they got hit at the same time. The snow god whip pierced through Lin Feng's alloy battle armor, and the seven-color stone pierced his chest, shattering his internal organs. The divine seal in Lin Feng's Sea of Consciousness also suffered severe damage. It dimmed, and his mind trembled. The horrifying saber intent contained in the dragon-killing arrow wreaked havoc in his body, battering the divine energy sea where his dantian was. Xiao Chun did not fare well, either. The dragon-killing arrow pierced through his chest and turned into a ghost hoe. Then, it rampaged through Lin Feng's body. Finally, it entered Lin Feng's Sea of Consciousness and turned into a horrifying ghost hoe, wanting to swallow up the divine seal. Plop! The two fell to their knees at the same time. Blood leaked out of the corners of their mouths, and their complexions turned incredibly pale. With just one move, the two could no longer continue attacking. They had to focus on dealing with the problems they faced. Xiao Chun had to deal with the ghost hoe in his Sea of Consciousness and expel the death qi in his body. Lin Feng had to deal with the saber qi in his Sea of Consciousness and the life force contained in the seven-color stone. To him, that boundless life force was like a great flood or ferocious beast. The two coughed continuously, vomiting mouthfuls of blood. They looked incredibly miserable. After a while, Xiao Chun opened his eyes first. He had the two-star alloy battle armor and the blue dragon divine body. In the end, his recovery and resistance were superior. Pooh! Lin Feng ferociously whipped the snow god whip out of his body. The snow god whip dragged the half-kneeling Lin Feng into the air before landing heavily on the ground. Bang! 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 Lin Feng's body bounced up and down a few times before finally falling to the ground weakly. However, he could not move at all. When the two fought, they competed on the trump cards that Mu Zifeng and Swearin Ji gave them. No matter how horrifying the ghost hoe was or how it changed, it was still a ghost hoe in the end. Coincidentally, Xiao Chun was different from the other dragon race cultivators. He had a strong resistance to the ghost hoe. The other dragon race cultivators would not be able to block this dragon-killing arrow. At this moment, the ghost hoe would devour their souls, and the death qi would corrode their physical bodies. Their souls would be destroyed, their physical bodies would rot, and their Dao would disappear. However, Xiao Chun had experienced the ghost hoe several times before. He had even killed the ghost hoe more than once. After the initial fear, he quickly calmed down. However, he still did not feel good. This injury was even more severe than when he fought the Tenad sovereign emperors the day before. Xiao Chun looked at the motionless Lin Feng, who was barely breathing. Then, he frowned slightly and said, "He can't be dead, right?" Right after Xiao Chun spoke, Lin Feng coughed intensely a few times. Then, he struggled to stand up weakly. With one glance, Lin Feng could tell that Xiao Chun was in a better state than he was. "You win." Lin Feng's complexion paled. However, the scarier thing was that his pale face still had black veins covering it like a spiderweb. Lin Feng's face looked like it would explode at any moment, appearing horrified. Xiao Chun knew that this was the price of cultivating the Death Dao domain. The pain would be indescribable with words. Whoosh! Lin Feng gritted his teeth with much difficulty. As he looked at Xiao Chun, he ferociously waved his hand. Then, the death qi in Xiao Chun's body was continuously sucked into his palm. Whoosh! Phew! Phew! Xiao Chun immediately felt much better. This Lin Feng was willing to admit defeat. He said one move, and he meant it. If he lost in one move, the grudge would be over. Unfortunately, Xiao Chun could not help Lin Feng. The life force contained in the snow god whip was materialized from the divine grade peony. He could not retrieve it. Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as Xiao Qian was about to say something, several figures suddenly arrived in the air. Xiao Qian's expression changed slightly. He looked over and saw a group of abyssal underworld cultivators wearing underworld godguard uniforms charging over. The 8th princely Yun seemed to be among them. When Xiao Qian clearly saw the faces of the two leaders, his expression changed again. It was Yin Songming and the deranged Jin Yuan. Xiao Qian chopped Yin Songming into pieces with one saber strike, but he did not die. Not only did Yin Songming not die, but he even seemed to have obtained an opportunity and became an underworld godguard. Li Yin, was it that bastard who lured him here? A murderous intent immediately surged in Xiao Qian's heart. Given his and Lin Feng's current states, they could not fight at all. Someone is coming. Let's go. Xiao Qian had always been decisive. Without overthinking, his figure flashed and landed beside Lin Feng, preparing to leave with him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. However, it was too late. With a few flashes, Yin Songming and the others blocked Xiao Qian and Lin Feng. Just as Yin Songming was about to say something, his gaze landed on Lin Feng. This stunned him, and shock flashed in his eyes. After a while, he muttered, "First senior brother, I thought you already died." Chapter 2199. First senior brother, I thought you were already dead. Yin Songming's words stunned Xiao Qian slightly. Then, he looked at Lin Feng, whom he was supporting. What's going on? To think that these two were actually senior brothers. Based on Yin Songming's gaze, it seemed like they once had a deep connection. Yin Songming's usually cold and emotionless face appeared somewhat dazed. It was like he was immersed in some memories, unable to extricate himself. Why are you in a daze? I called you over to kill this fellow. My dynasty's sacred tool is still in his hands. Yin Songming, why are you still not making a move? When he saw Yin Songming in a daze, he said somewhat impatiently. The 8th princely Yin got angry when he saw Xiao Qian. Yin Songming did not seem to hear Li Yun, remaining unmoved. He only stared at Lin Feng and the alloy battle armor Lin Feng wore. Lin Feng's gaze also fell on Yin Songming. When he saw the underworld godguard uniform, he felt slightly stunned. Congratulations. In the past, you have always wanted to join the underworld godguard. Now, your wish has finally been fulfilled. Now, you finally got your wish. The pale Lin Feng sighed softly, his tones somewhat mocking. Yin Songming said indifferently, "Indeed. Back then, I wanted to be like first senior brother, to join the underworld god hall and become an underworld godguard. My first senior brother was the hero of the flood dragon humans, the disciple that Master was the proudest of. He was the first flood dragon human to become an underworld godguard, the person I admired the most back then." At this point, the complicated expression in Yin Songming's eyes slowly faded, turning cold again. "You're not my first senior brother. My first senior brother is already dead. He absolutely would not wear the Heavenly Alliance's alloy battle armor. All the more, he would not support a mixed blood dragon. Back then, he swore to lead the flood dragon humans back to the divine dragon empire, the hero." Yin Songming's voice grew increasingly softer. As he spoke, the murderous intent coming from him intensified. Yin Songming turned back into that cold and emotionless Yin Songming, who could endure humiliation and bear a heavy burden. Compared to Lin Feng, Yin Songming was more suitable to be called the Grim Reaper. Lin Feng, no matter what method you use, delay him for another minute. I just need 1 minute. Otherwise, we will both die here. Xiao Qian was not interested in the grudges between these two senior brothers. Right now, he only wanted to live. Under the current situation, not to mention Yin Songming, just Jin Yuan alone was more than enough to deal with the two of them. Furthermore, there were several underworld god guards and Li Yun here. Although they were not in desperate straits, they were not far from it. Lin Feng thought for a while before nodding in the end. Then, he looked at Yin Songming and said, 2 months ago, I went to Junior Sister's grave. Thank you for your care and worship over the years. Her spirit in heaven should be very happy that little junior brother from back then has grown into a man now." Yin Songming paused for a moment. The murderous intent that he gathered vanished, and pain and nostalgia appeared in his eyes. "Now, Xiao Chun shouted ferociously and drew the tyrant's saber on his back. Then he executed the fiendish saber's first move, all things rejoicing together. In that instant, the final blood battlefield for 500,000 kilometers around seemed to come to life. The mountains and rivers were shaking, and the ancient departed spirits were roaring. Every inch of land and every inch of light and shadow turned into a fiend, turning into the saber intent in Xiao Chen's heart. The instant Xiao Chen drew the tyrant's saber, the entire world seemed to come to life. The instant the saber light left the scabbard, it turned into a saber hum that sounded like a peerless zither. It reverberated in all directions in this boundless battlefield. It sang loudly in the howling wind, rejoicing with all things in this immortal final blood battlefield filled with demonic creatures. The green mountains were the green mountains. The white clouds were the white clouds. All things had spirits. All things were fiends. What was a fiend? All things rejoiced together. The world turned silent. In the next moment, the vast battlefield and 500,000 kilometers of desolate plains rejoiced together with Xiao Chun. Boundless saber lights burst out from the dark clouds in the sky, bursting out from the vast, desolate plains. Aside from Xiao Chun and Lin Feng, countless saber lights shot towards Yin, Songming, and the others. Immediately, it looked like the sky fell and the ground cracked. Resplendent saber lights lit up the entire battlefield. This startled Yin, Songming, and the other underworld god guards. They all made their moves to block the boundless saber lights. Dang! 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 Amid the chaos, the underworld god guards could not even take care of themselves. So, Xiao Chun carried Lin Feng and leaped high into the air. As Xiao Chun leaped over the sky and landed, a bewitching red light shot out, catching Xiao Chun and Lin Feng. Then, they quickly flew far away. This was the demon blood vulture that had left and returned. It came at the right time, at the crucial moment. Pusi. The moment Xiao Chun landed on the demon blood vulture's back, he vomited a mouthful of blood. Executing all things rejoicing together in a severely injured state, Xiao Chun really did not care about his life. However, in the earlier situation, Xiao Chun had no other choice. He had to fight for a chance of survival. The saber chi materialized by all things rejoicing together flustered the underworld god guards. The saber chi pierced through the weaker underworld god guards, leaving them in miserable states. By the time everything calmed down, the surroundings had already changed. The terrain had changed. This all things rejoicing together had turned space into an unrecognizable mess. Damn it, Yin Songming, why did you not make a move earlier? Why were you in a freaking daze? The 8th Prince, Li Yun, raged. He pointed at Yin Songming and cursed. Yin Songming simply could not stand wasting such a good opportunity on his grandson. How could he endure this? Furthermore, he had been severely injured by the saber chi, so he could not help but feel even angrier. Bang! However, before he could finish cursing, a figure suddenly appeared beside Li Yun. Before he could react, he was sent flying by a kick. After landing on the ground, that foot stomped heavily on his face. The one who attacked was Zhen Yuan, the demonic blade. Yin Songming looked indifferently and said calmly, "Let him go." "Ha!" Zhen Yuan did not hold back. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and sent the other party flying again. After a few ups and downs, Li Yun vomited a mouthful of blood. Then he looked at Yin Songming and the other underworld god guards in a somewhat sorry state. He discovered that these people were all looking at him expressionlessly. Their calm expressions made him feel somewhat afraid. What do you want to do?" "Yin Songming, don't forget our agreement. Previously, you reneged on it, not helping me deal with Luoho Wang. That was already too much. Are you rebelling now?" Li Yun asked with a somewhat trembling voice, feeling fear for some reason. "Agreement? What agreement? I have an agreement with your first brother. He told me to take care of you and not to die in this final blood battlefield, embarrassing the Shuwu dynasty." Yin Songming revealed a smile as he spoke with some mockery. "What?" This stupefied Li Yun. It was like a bolt from the blue, rendering him speechless for a long time. Li Yin came to the final blood battlefield to obtain the ancient demonic sovereign true god flame so that he could make a comeback and fight for the throne with his first brother. When Li Yin suddenly heard Yin Songming's words, the horror in his heart was easy to imagine. It turned out that his first brother had anticipated Li Yun's every move. Furthermore, his first brother had even sent Yin Songming to watch him. Yin Songming said softly, "So don't overthink. The underworld god guards did not come to the final blood battlefield to be your helper. If not for your first brother's instructions, I would not have bothered with you. Now scram. Scram as far as you can. Don't appear before me again." Li Yin was at a loss. However, when he saw the cold gaze in Yin Songming's eyes, he suddenly felt that Yin Songming's emotions seemed somewhat unstable. Yin Songming was not joking. If Li Yin did not leave now, he might not be able to. Li Yin used his hands and feet to crawl to his feet, fleeing in a fluster. However, after taking a few steps, a roar from hell suddenly erupted from behind. When Li Yin looked back, the entire world immediately turned dark. The black mysteries of death lingered, looking like a ferocious beast from hell opening its mouth and swallowing Li Yin up. Amid the miserable shriek, Li Yin roared, Yin Songming, you did not keep your word." Then, Li Yun's voice grew softer and softer until the death chi swallowed up all his life force, turning him into a dried-up corpse. "When did I say that I would not kill you? Idiot!" Yin Songming snorted coldly. However, the cold chi from his body did not weaken by much. Zhen Yuan, who was at the side, knew that Yin Songming had purposely let Xiao Chun and Lin Feng go earlier. In the end, Zhen Yuan could not steel himself to truly kill his first senior brother. However, Yin Songming had already become the Yin Songming that Zhen Yuan knew. From now on, Zhen Yuan would no longer have any worries. Yin Songming's earlier benevolence meant that Yin Songming had made a clean break with the past, no longer having any ties to it. From now on, the past will become the norm. As for Li Yun, it was purely because Yin Songming had nowhere to vent the pain and depression in his heart. Furthermore, he sought death himself, so he vented it all on Yin Songming. If Li Yin died, so be it. He would just treat it as a gift to his first brother. "Senior brother Yin, should we continue searching for the ethereal Immortal Palace key or chase after the traitor Lin Feng?" An underworld god guard asked softly after stepping forward. Yin Songming replied seriously, "We must kill the traitor Lin Feng. Both of them are injured and cannot go far. Bring over the underworld god guards, keeping an eye on the universe origin sect and a profound heaven holy land. Search the entire final blood battlefield and find these two." Yes. Chapter 2200. When the blood moon set, the entire final blood battlefield plunged into absolute darkness. Speaking of which, it was strange. The abyssal underworld only had some light at night, when the blood moon appeared. On the contrary, it was always dusky during the day. As for the final blood battlefield, it was pitch black during the day. Even spiritual sense was restricted by the complicated environment of the battlefield. The demon blood vulture carried Xiao, Chun, and Lin Feng. After flying for half a day, it had to stop. The demon blood vulture had to stop. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng could no longer hold on and needed to recuperate. What the two lacked was time. Even with their peak strength, they might not be able to block the underworld god guards' attacks. However, if they did not recover from their injuries, they would not have any chance to leave. Only death awaited them. Whoosh! The demon blood vulture landed, and the two landed one after another. Xiao Chun looked at Lin Feng and handed the ice fire lotus platform to him. Lin Feng shook his head and said, "Use it yourself. You forcefully executed a killing move. Your injuries are no lighter than mine." Xiao Chun said softly, "You are overthinking. Perhaps my Dao domain is not as good as yours, but my physical body is much stronger. My injuries will definitely recover faster than yours." Lin Feng thought for a while and did not refuse. Then he sat cross-legged on the ice fire lotus platform and started to treat his injuries. The final blood battlefield was not peaceful in the darkness. Demonic creatures ran amok, and corpses littered the ground. The demon blood vulture roamed the surroundings, protecting the two. circulating the demonic cloud heaven swallowing art to absorb the surrounding demonic chi to heal in the final blood battlefield would definitely be faster than the 10,000 dragons art. With a thought, Shao Chun circulated the demonic cloud heaven swallowing art. His body immediately became like a funnel, frantically absorbing the surrounding demonic chi. As Shao Chun circulated his cultivation technique, a huge demonic cloud bird image slowly appeared, encasing Shao Chun. This demonic cloud bird, a great desolate Ian ferocious beast, opened its huge mouth and swallowed the surroundings, looking like it wanted to swallow up the world. Shao Chun's divine energy recovered quickly. Now, he was one with the demonic and divine. Whether it was demonic chi or spiritual energy, it would eventually turn into primal chaos veritable essence energy. After that, he could manifest spiritual energy and demonic chi divine energy as he pleased, merging them into one. There was no distinction between righteous and demonic. To put it simply, how much devil chi divine essence there was how much spirit chi divine essence there was. The two were one, and they were each other's shadow. 2 hours later, Shao Chun opened his eyes. His injuries were already half healed. Shao Chun's internal organs had all healed. Only his divine seal and soul were still somewhat dim. Unfortunately, this place was not peaceful. Otherwise, it would be a good idea to continue refining the divine fire of the ancient demon monarch. However, once the process of refining the divinity flame was interrupted, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Not everyone was like Lin Feng, giving him a chance to have a fair fight with him. On the Ice Fire Lotus platform, Lin Feng opened his eyes at the same time. With the help of the Ice Fire Lotus platform, his complexion looked much better in just 4 hours. Of course, this was only relatively speaking. In reality, there was not much color on his face, but the black aura that resembled a spider web had already disappeared. Neither of them were talkative people. They looked at each other and nodded slightly, not saying anything. Then they each did their own things. Shao Chun took out a bottle of Burning Moon and leaned against a rock to taste it alone. After Shao Chun finished the wine in the bottle, it was time to continue. The longer he stayed in the final blood battlefield, the more danger he would face. Lin Feng casually lay on the ground, toying with an exquisite mirror box. He rubbed it repeatedly with a gentle gaze. When Shao Chun glanced at it, he nearly vomited the wine in his mouth. Lin Feng's current expression was too different from his usual stern expression. The strong contrast between this and the way he rubbed the mirror box looked like he was caressing a young girl's hand. Honestly speaking, Shao Chun felt that Lin Feng looked like a pervert. After taking only one glance, Shao Chun looked away. If he took a few more glances, he might really vomit the wine in his mouth. Shao Chun took out the snow god whip. The dart head, made of 7-color stone, already had many cracks. When he removed the dart head, it immediately lost its divine nature. Shao Chun shook his head and sighed softly. No wonder Luo Ho Wang treated it as an ornament. The Heavenly Alliance's holy relic had lost too much of its divine nature over time. Furthermore, Hua Tianyang had used it too often back then, so it had probably overdrawn. Otherwise, the dart head would not have fallen off. Now that Shao Chun used it, it could be considered to have used up the last of its power. It might just be trash. Hua Tianyang probably would not be too happy about sending it back. The 7-color stone was no longer comparable to the one from back then. After Shao Chun finished the wine in the bottle, he shook it a few times. When he confirmed that there was nothing left, he stood up to leave. However, he discovered that Lin Feng was still doing the same thing. Shao Chun found this somewhat strange. He walked over and asked, "What is in this box?" Lin Feng startled awake and sat up. Then he said softly, "This is the token of love that my junior sister gave me back then." "What is it?" Junior sister said that it was her most precious thing. She handed it to me and told me to take good care of it, to treat it well forever. You still have not told me what is in it? Lin Feng shook his head and said, "I don't know what it is either. Since junior sister said that it is the most precious thing, then it is definitely the most precious thing. I cannot bear to open it. After she passed away, I could not bear to open it." What if I opened it and it was gone? Xiao Chan felt somewhat confused. In the end, he did not even know what it was, yet he had been touching it for so long. I did not misunderstand you. You are indeed a monster. However, Xiao Chen's curiosity was piqued. He wanted to see what was in it. Let's open it and take a look. Lin Feng said seriously, there is no need. Junior sister said that it is the most precious thing, so it is definitely the most precious thing. I will know without opening it. This fellow is really infatuated, Xiao Chun thought. He could not help feeling some admiration for Lin Feng. Lin Feng flew into a rage for his lover, betraying the underworld god hall and crippling his demonic Dao cultivation technique. Then, he restarted his cultivation with a righteous Dao cultivation technique. All for one thought, to charge back and take revenge for her. Sometimes, when Xiao Chen thought about it, Yin Saming was right. Lin Feng's first senior brother was indeed dead. After the person he loved the most died, he no longer had a first senior brother. Such a person lived only for his obsession. Once that obsession was fulfilled, there might be no more meaning in living. After taking revenge, Lin Feng would probably choose to commit suicide to accompany his junior sister, no longer longing for anything in the world. Seeing that Lin Feng was unwilling to open it, Xiao Chun entered deep thought. Then he said softly, perhaps she wants to say something to you in this mirror box. Think about it. Your junior sister's words are definitely very important. She definitely wants you to know. You've been unwilling to open it all these years. Isn't that because you are not willing to see what your junior sister wants to say to you? Lin Feng felt slightly stunned when he heard that. After thinking about it carefully, he felt that what Xiao Chun said made sense. Lin Feng's expression changed somewhat, but he still felt some doubts. Xiao Chun continued, open it. Perhaps the two of us will not be able to leave this final blood battlefield alive. At that time, it will be a lifetime of regret. Xiao Chen was right. No matter what, this was the abyssal underworld's territory. Two Heavenly Alliance members had appeared and had a grudge with Yin Saming. The longer they delayed, the harder it would be for them to leave. Originally, Xiao Chun had not expected to expose his identity during the mission and face so many twists and turns. Mu Zifeng and Swearin Ji probably would not have expected this, either. All the more, they would not have guessed that Xiao Chun and Lin Feng would work together to flee. Xiao Chen's words thoroughly moved Lin Feng. At this moment, his survival was uncertain. The underworld god guards might catch up at any moment. If Lin Feng died, it would be, as Xiao Chun said, a lifetime of regret. When the mirror box opened, Xiao Chun and Lin Feng were somewhat stunned. This was especially so for Lin Feng. He stared at the mirror box for a while before saying, a mirror? How could it be a mirror? Unexpectedly, when he opened the mirror box, there was nothing but a mirror in it. A confused Lin Feng appeared in the mirror. His pale complexion, the grief in his eyes, the stubbornness hidden in the depths of his eyes, the helplessness of living like a walking corpse, and the pain he suffered over the years all appeared clearly on that face in the mirror. Lin Feng felt somewhat stunned. This is me? Kassier. As Lin Feng felt confused, a crisp sound came from the mirror. The mirror cracked, and a drop of blood seeped out. The blood slowly dripped out like a tear, looking extremely strange. What happened? Lin Feng was dumbfounded. Then, he looked at Xiao Chen angrily and said, I told you not to open it, but you insisted on making me open it. Now it's really gone. Xiao Chan felt that something was strange. He looked at Lin Feng and said calmly, Are you trying to kill me with that look in your eyes? Don't think too much about it. My injuries are lighter than yours. The one who will die will be you. Humph. Although his words were harsh, they were the truth. Lin Feng coldly snorted and ignored Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun said softly, This mirror is a little strange. Let me take a look. Without any hesitation, Xiao Chun took it over and blocked Lin Feng, who was about to snatch it back with one hand. With the other, he held the mirror box and examined it carefully. So that is the case. This mirror reminded Xiao Chun of the Smiling Daughter Pavilion's fairy basket. However, this mirror did not have that many special tricks. What was special about it was that it could feel the emotions of the person in the mirror and make a decision. Just as Lin Feng was about to explode, Xiao Chen returned the mirror box to him. I understand now. This mirror is indeed strange. It can feel your emotions and react accordingly. Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and asked, What did you say? Xiao Chen said indifferently, If you don't believe me, you can smile at the mirror. If I guess right, the mirror should slowly heal. Lin Feng felt suspicious. As he looked at the bleeding mirror, he entered deep thought without saying anything. After a while, he said, I can't smile. Xiao Chen thought about it and agreed. Getting him to smile was even harder than ascending to heaven. I got it. Watch me. Look at the mirror and don't move. That's right. That's it. Xiao Chen walked over to Lin Feng's side and placed his right hand on Lin Feng's mouth. Then, he pushed up and forced out a smile. It had to be said that this forced smile was uglier than crying. However, something strange happened. It was as Xiao Chen said. The mirror slowly healed, and the flowing blood vanished. Xiao Chen lowered his hand, and Lin Feng's face turned lifeless and cold again. The mirror immediately stopped healing, and the cracks started spreading. Do you understand now? This is your junior sister's most proper item. What is the most precious? The person in the mirror is the most precious to her. Didn't you swear to charge back to the Divine Dragon Empire? This is clearly sending yourself to death. Your junior sister did not say it, but she understood it in her heart. That's why she gave you this mirror. She hoped that you could understand that all she cared about was you. She wanted you to live, wanted you to be happy, wanted you to be happy. She would be like this mirror, watching you forever. As Xiao Chen spoke, he found himself unable to continue. Perhaps back then, his junior sister already knew that the underworld God Hall's Vice Hall Master would kill her as a cultivation furnace. She also knew that Lin Feng would disregard everything and fall out with the underworld God Hall for her. Hence, when she was alive, she gave this mirror to Lin Feng to let him understand her feelings. I don't want you to become the hero of the Flood Dragon humans. I don't want you to be infatuated with me. I only hope that you can live and smile when you are free. That's all. That's all. However, Lin Feng was destined to be a hero. He was destined to never be able to smile. There were infatuated people in the world. Xiao Chen thought of himself. What about me? Am I infatuated? Chapter 22:01. Junior sister Lin Feng's infatuation reminded Xiao Chen of his own emotional wounds, making him feel somewhat helpless. It was easy to criticize others, but it was hard to see oneself clearly. Xiao Chen shook his head, not bothering with this matter. The night was long, and he was not in the mood to continue traveling. After rummaging around in his storage ring, Xiao Chen found the pipa that the Scarlet Blood Pirate King once left behind. This was a medial grade soul tool. Xiao Chen had intended to give it to his little martial nephew to use as a token of love for the headliner Ling Long. Xiao Chen recalled that his little martial nephew had a 5-year agreement with the headliner Ling Long many years ago. Now, it had been 10 years since he parted with his little martial nephew. Xiao Chen wondered how his little martial nephew was doing since he went to keep the appointment. It was all because of love and helplessness. Xiao Chen casually strummed the pipa, unable to vent his emotions. The sound of his saber being drawn rivaled the most wondrous zither music in the world. However, Xiao Chen was not good at music. Even though he had a powerful instrument, he could not play a complete tune. He could only casually play a seemingly unrelated tune in this boundless night. Ding, ding, dong, dong. However, the pipa in Xiao Chen's hand was a medial grade soul tool. Even though Xiao Chen was not good at music, the pipa was connected to his heart. The tune he played was what he thought and longed for in his heart, which was surprisingly pleasant to the ear. It was like a clear spring in the mountains, flowing water, splashing rocks. It was pleasing to the ear, containing a trace of sorrow and helplessness. There was also a trace of longing gathered at his fingertip, turning into a clear sound that lingered endlessly in an empty valley. In the boundless night of the final blood battlefield, which had existed since ancient times, two men, one played the pipa in a comical manner, his movements jerky and inelegant. The other was even more comical, doing his best to squeeze out a smile in a mirror trying to repair the broken mirror and stop it from dripping blood. Suddenly, the peep of music stopped. Xiao Chan raised his eyebrows, and there seemed to be a sharp light on his face, illuminating the dark night. Lin Feng put away the mirror box, his face filled with coldness and sternness. One for each, Xiao Chun suggested to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded slightly. Whoosh! The two turned into beams of light, moving very quickly. In the blink of an eye, they were each 50,000 kilometers away. Before the two underworld god guards, who had followed the peep of music, could react, they were startled by Xiao Chun and Lin Feng's sudden appearance. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng would not be able to fight for long in their current states. In Xiao Chun and Feng's underworld Chun and Feng, the underworld Lin Feng and Lin Feng could not last for long. This Xiao Chen's king. Xiao Chun, your head is worth an inferior grade soul tool to the Rakshasa race. Xiao Feng of Chunuf. With Lin Chun back, Xiao Chun. When he Chun to the Lin. Chin Shak. When he Feng. When Chun for Chun had Tion. Xiao. Ling, Chun to say to he Chun to he. Chun in Chun. Back then, Xiao Chun had not even reached sovereign personage, so one could easily imagine the shock it caused. Xiao Chun asked softly, is it that valuable? However, I'm afraid that you do not have the ability to take it. Humph. Is that so? The spirit Chun smiled coldly. Then he grasped the bone spike in his left shoulder with his right hand. Then he pulled hard, and a white bone sword came out his body. The sword intent surrounding the bone sword was connected to the spirit Chen's mind, flesh, and blood, using the bone as the sword and the body as the scabbard. The stronger the physical body, the stronger the sword. The martial techniques and cultivation techniques of the Rakshasa race were very strange. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. The Rakshasa race's sword Dao seemed to have some similarities to his flawless saber Dao. However, the spirit Chun was even more extreme. He directly refined his shoulder bone into a sword and fed it with his flesh, blood, and soul. His cultivation, Dao domain, cultivation technique, martial technique, and even his divine seal were all in this bone sword. Take this. The spirit Chun thrust his sword forward. Just this strike alone caused the entire world to tremble. Rumble. The sword move was like a ferocious beast from the great desolate Aeon. Now it easily crushed the tall mountains and the ground, unblockable. Interesting. Unfortunately, I do not have time to exchange pointers with you. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. He felt interested in this Rakshasa race's sword Dao. If Xiao Chun had time, he could use his flawless saber Dao to exchange pointers with the other party. However, now is not the time. Mahamaya abstinence violation technique, Buddha in the mortal realm. When facing the overwhelming mysterious phenomenon materialized by this sword move, Xiao Chun countered in an even more berserk manner, drawing the tyrant's saber. A supreme killing Buddha image appeared. That killing Buddha was 30 kilometers tall, looking down on the world. Its expression was as cold as ice, emotionless and devoid of desires. Only its Buddhist might shook the surroundings. Buddha is merciful. Bang! The killing Buddha ferociously pushed its palms forward, and the middle-aged Rakshasa race's attack instantly crumbled. Just as the Rakshasa race was about to make a move, Xiao Chun roared ferociously. With the support of his divine seal, the Ice Dao, the Thunder Dao, and the Saber Dao spread out layer by layer. 3 Dao domains? The 4th layer of the Thunder Dao domain? The middle-aged Rakshasa cultivator's expression instantly turned grave, and the bone sword in his hand flew out and stabbed forward. Beams of sword light turned into resplendent black light. In an instant, they poked thousands of holes in Xiao Chen's Dao domain. What a sharp sword! Naturally, Xiao Chen would not let the Rakshasa race continue as he pleased. With a flick of his finger, he sent out a raindrop. What is a fiend? Water droplet breaking the firmament. The second move of the fiendish saber inheritance, a raindrop, instantly struck the Rakshasa race sovereign emperor. Boom! Boundless saber light tore apart the Rakshasa race sovereign emperor's flesh, clothes, and armor, leaving only a skeleton. Die for me. Xiao Chun did not show mercy after gaining the upper hand. He executed the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber techniques, entering hell while carrying the might of his third-layer Dao domain. The saber light turned into a dragon, turning into a world-destroying dragon that roared ferociously from hell. Then it struck the skeleton. Kassiye! Kassiye! The skeleton immediately shattered into pieces. A flash of white light wrapped around the shattered bones soared as it frantically fled far away. Xiao Chun sheathed his saber and did not give chase. It would be very difficult to truly kill a sovereign emperor. As Xiao Chun thought this, he heard a miserable shriek from the other side. It came from the other underworld god guard. Lin Feng's death Dao domain eroded away all the life force of the underworld god guard, causing it to die powerlessly. Xiao Chun was flabbergasted. Then, he thought to himself, of course, even a sovereign emperor would be wise not to offend a madman who grasped the death Dao domain. Whoosh! After dealing with their opponents, the two soared into the air and landed on the demon blood vulture's back. Then, they flew quickly through the night. The two spent the remaining days dodging the pursuit of the underworld god guards. To sovereign emperors, the final blood battlefield was not very vast. However, they could not break out of it. The two fought with the pursuers practically every day and night. Furthermore, they did not dare to linger. Once they were delayed, the underworld god guards would surround them and attack them. At that time, only death awaited them. This was how miserable it was to be in someone else's territory. If they were in the central Great Realm, given the Heavenly Alliance's strength, they would not be in such a sorry state. Unfortunately, the ninth layer of the abyssal underworld was the underworld god hall's main camp. Once the underworld god guards targeted them, it would be extremely difficult to shake them off. Xiao Chun will be fine. Actually, he could use the divine universe steel to return to the blue dragon's old lands and shake off the pursuers. However, if he did that, he would have to abandon Linfeng. After thinking about it, Xiao Chun decided that there was no need to use the divine universe steel unless he was truly in dire straits. However, it was not all bad news. After half a month, the two recovered 80% of their injuries. While they were not at their peak, they were not far from it. As long as they did not get surrounded by more than 10 underworld god guards, they would not be in danger of getting delayed. Touch of Death. Mahamaya abstinence violation technique in the mortal realm. When Xiao Chun and Linfeng knocked back the underworld god guards chasing them again, they showed strange expressions. Xiao Chun, did you notice that, aside from the underworld god guards fighting at full power at the start, something happened later? These underworld god guards only want to trap us in the final blood battlefield and are not in a rush to surround and kill us. Linfeng voiced the doubts in his heart as he looked at Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun nodded slightly. However, he could not understand what was going on. The two could feel it. In the first 7 days, the underworld god guards followed them like shadows, not giving the two time to catch their breaths. The underworld god guards looked like they wanted to kill Xiao Chun and Linfeng, not stopping until they were dead. However, something happened. Suddenly, they felt that the underworld god guards' pursuit weakened significantly. However, they chased but did not fight. It seemed like they only wanted to delay the two in the final blood battlefield. After they dealt with other matters, they would surround and kill Xiao Chun and Linfeng. Say, do you think it is possible that the underworld god guard's target was not us or even the ancient demonic sovereign corpse from the start? Think about it. If they cared about the ancient demonic sovereign corpse, why did they not appear when Luoho Wang made a move? A thought occurred to Xiao Chun. The more he thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. He continued, that must be the case. Back then, I saw Li Yun cursing and saying that someone betrayed him. Now that I think about it, this group of underworld god guards must have made an appointment with him, but did not show up. Linfeng said after some thought, the underworld god guards rarely interfere in these matters. When they move out, they usually target the righteous Dao cultivators and the righteous Dao super factions. Xiao Chun entered deep thought. The righteous Dao faction? Is it the profound Gates Holy Sun, one Renyu's group? Is it possible that this group of people's target is not the ancient demonic sovereign corpse? Either. Thinking about it, a group of righteous Tao factions does not have much desire for the demonic sovereign corpse. They might just be taking advantage of the situation. Ha ha ha. The two of us are confused. Why are we guessing? We only need to know that the Underworld God Guard's main target is not the two of us. A bright light flickered in Xiao Chen's eyes. He smiled faintly and said, "Since that is the case, we will not leave. We will use this opportunity to recover our strength to our peak in one go. If I refine that divine nature flame, it might be possible for me to break through to one vein sovereign emperor." When Xiao Chun gained the strength of a one-vein sovereign emperor and Lin Feng recovered to his peak, they could break through the seal and charge out of the final blood battlefield. Lin Feng said softly, "If I refine the life force of the divine grade peony, I might be able to break through as well." "Your death great Tao can refine life force?" Xiao Chen asked, finding it strange. Lin Feng nodded. "The strongest poison is the best tonic. As long as one can endure the pain and fear of life and death, you can also refine the death great Tao. As long as you are willing, I can teach you the method to help you grasp the death great Tao." Xiao Chun felt tempted for a moment. However, he chose to give up in the blink of an eye. Based on Lin Feng's appearance when he suffered the rebound, he could easily imagine the pain. It was not as easy as Lin Feng made it out to be. Furthermore, Xiao Chun had the cycle Tao, which was even stronger than the death great Tao. However, it was harder to cultivate. We will talk about this matter later. Right now, let's find a quiet place to make our breakthroughs. Let the demon blood vulture protect us. Chapter 2202. After some speculation, they concluded that something had changed with the Underworld God Guards and that they had changed targets. Xiao Chun and Lin Feng decisively chose to enter closed-door cultivation to break through without hesitation. This opportunity was fleeting. If they missed it and the Underworld God Guards recovered their wits, they would be trapped in this final blood battlefield forever. Xiao Chun chose to refine the divine nature flame, and Lin Feng chose the divine grade peony's life force. He wanted to make a breakthrough while lingering between life and death. Comparing the two, Xiao Chun was much safer than Lin Feng. He only needed to refine the divine nature flame. Lin Feng had to risk the rebound of his life force. If he could not endure it, the consequences would be dire. Choosing the death Tao domain required an unimaginable price. However, it was nothing special to Lin Feng. Above the ice fire lotus platform, Xiao Chun sat cross-legged and circulated his energy with his eyes closed, using the demonic cloud heaven-swallowing art to refine the divine nature flame. Back then, Xiao Chun had absorbed only a tenth of the divine nature flame left by an ancient demonic sovereign, allowing him to recover from his injuries and return to his peak. If Xiao Chun could absorb all of it, he would be filled with anticipation. What kind of opportunity would he obtain? In the soul pool, the divine flame filled the entire soul sea. The black flame was burning fiercely. As far as the eye could see, the entire soul pool was filled with this divine flame. The blue dragon divine seal in the center of Xiao Chen's soul sea frantically absorbed this black flame. Time passed. Soon, one day and night passed. In his soul pool, Xiao Chen's blue dragon divine seal flickered with light as the divine nature flame absorbed it. Xiao Chun sat cross-legged on the ice fire lotus platform with his eyes closed, appearing very holy. Specks of holy light appeared around him, as if he was bathing in a celestial rain. The sun and moon behind him shone together, looking very wondrous. Xiao Chun could clearly feel his soul energy growing at a horrifying rate, continuously climbing. Boom! The blue dragon divine seal in Xiao Chen's soul pool flickered with light before exploding. The scattered soul pool quickly regathered and formed a brand new divine seal. A halo appeared around the azure dragon divine seal, bathing the entire divine seal in divine light. Before Xiao Chen's divine energy broke through, his soul energy already reached the level of a one-vein sovereign emperor. Xiao Chun was overjoyed. there was still half of the ancient demon sovereign's divine nature flame left to be absorbed. This was just the beginning. Indeed, 2 days later, Xiao Qian's soul energy broke through again, reaching two-vein sovereign emperor. An even larger divine vein halo appeared around the azure dragon divine seal. Bathed in the 2 layers of divine vein halo, Xiao Qian's body trembled. He could clearly feel that the power of the divine seal was no longer the same as before. The greatest difference between a sovereign emperor and a human monarch was that aside from divine energy, their divine seals could be infused into their Dao domains. With the support of the divine seal, the Dao domain was like it had blood, flesh, and soul. Its might was completely different. Even now, Xiao Qian possessed the soul energy of a two-vein sovereign emperor. Even if his cultivation was lacking, he would not fear a two-vein sovereign emperor in a clash of Dao domains. Of course, this wasn't the end, because there was still a third of the divinity flame remaining. The last third was the essence of the ancient demonic king, a real god expert's divine fire. Whether Xiao Qian could break through or not depended on this. After another 3 days, the 10,000 dragon images on the divine energy sea under Xiao Qian's dantian suddenly gave off a bright golden light. The dragon images turned into beams of divine light and charged out of the divine energy sea, continuously crashing into each other. After advancing to Sovereign Emperor, Xiao Qian's body no longer had an ordinary body. He had already shed his mortal body. The divine veins in Xiao Qian's body waited to be opened. Once they were opened, his divine energy could circulate unobstructed. The divine veins would no longer be controlled by the meridians, but by the stronger divine veins. Bang! 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 As the 10,000 beams of divine light continuously charged, the bottleneck Xiao Qian held started to loosen. Since entering the Heavenly Alliance for more than a year, Xiao Qian had been making preparations. If nothing unexpected happened, he would be able to open a divine vein within 3 years. Now that Xiao Qian obtained the divine nature flame and his soul energy soared, it also stimulated his cultivation. This was a form of reciprocation. It was like how a person's spirit would improve after their body recovered. When the soul grew stronger, it would also nourish the physical body. Essence, qi, and spirit became one, influencing each other. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Xiao Qian frantically tried to break through his bottleneck. This time, Xiao Qian was determined to succeed. He was very confident in himself. Xiao Qian tried again and failed again and again. With each failure, he suffered great pain. However, Xiao Qian did not care. He firmly believed that as long as he persisted and did not give up, there would be a result. Boom! Xiao Qian did not know how many times he failed, so many that he could not even remember. Then he heard an explosion in his divine energy sea. It seemed like a brand new door opened in his physical body. A divine vein opened from the dantian to the heart, then to the forehead. Finally, it connected to the soul pool and the divine seal. Good things came in pairs. Just as Xiao Qian felt confused, his soul energy broke through again. Another ring of light appeared under the blue dragon divine seal. His soul energy now reached the level of a 3-vein sovereign emperor. Xiao Qian opened his eyes. However, he did not show joy in them. Instead, he appeared somewhat confused. Breaking through to 1-vein sovereign emperor was understandable. Xiao Qian had been preparing for this for a year. Furthermore, he cultivated 2 powerful cultivation techniques, the 10,000 dragons art and the demonic cloud heaven swallowing art. Even without this divine nature flame, breaking through would have been a matter of time. What confused Xiao Qian was that his soul energy had increased so quickly. In a mere 7 days, he had reached 3-vein sovereign emperor. This was an incredible progress. In reality, Xiao Qian had somewhat underestimated the divine nature flame. This was the divine nature flame of an ancient demonic sovereign's true body. It was not as simple as Xiao Qian thought. However, the true reason was Xiao Qian's body. The Thundercliff tree, a 100,000-year-old herb king that he had consumed and refined in the faux god world long ago, already had terrifying accumulations. Many medicinal properties had settled in his body, not being activated. That was a natural treasure that tempted even foe gods. The benefits it brought far surpassed Xiao Qin's expectations. Furthermore, Xiao Qin's soul energy accumulations were very strong, resulting in such a horrifying increase in his soul energy. If it was anyone else, even if they refined the flames of divinity, only their soul energy and cultivation would increase by 1 element each. If it were a 3-vein sovereign emperor or above, the effects would be significantly reduced after refining it. It would be unknown whether they could break through or not. This is still somewhat terrifying. I need to consolidate my strength. Xiao Chun could not figure out the reason. After calmly analyzing it, he felt that advancing his soul energy too easily might not be a good thing. If it were anyone else, they would definitely rejoice. However, Xiao Chun had his own plans. How could he limit his vision to that of a 3-vein sovereign emperor? He considered even further. Xiao Chun imagined his opponents to be the experts of the entire Great Thousand Realms, the entire martial epic. He was no longer the Xiao Chun of the past. Xiao Chun leaped down from the lotus platform and stretched his body. With a thought, he felt his divine energy sea surge with strong waves. The surging divine energy gathered in his palm through his divine veins. What was even more miraculous was that this divine energy already contained his Tao domain and soul energy. That divine vein connected the nodes of his divine energy, divine seal, and physical body, merging the 3 into 1. Now, Xiao Chun truly entered the sovereign emperor realm. Whoosh! Suddenly, Xiao Chun felt a sharp light turn into a surging aura pressing over from the side. Xiao Chun turned around and looked over. That surging aura instantly became like mud falling into the sea before him, vanishing into nothing. It was Lin Feng, who had broken through at this moment, successfully advancing to 1-vein sovereign emperor. Lin Feng opened his eyes and happened to meet Xiao Chen's gaze. He immediately felt immense pressure, feeling like he was weaker than the other party from the depths of his soul. What's going on? His cultivation is clearly the same as mine. Why does he give me such immense pressure? Shock appeared in Lin Feng's eyes. He could not figure it out no matter how he thought about it. You broke through? Xiao Chan asked softly as he walked over. Lin Feng nodded and stared at Xiao Chan for a while. Then he said, "You seem to be somewhat different." Xiao Chan did not deny it. His soul energy had reached 3-vein sovereign emperor. Even if Xiao Chan did not do it on purpose, Lin Feng could feel the pressure. It was just like when Xiao Chan faced Luoho Wang back then. When Luoho Wang stood beside Luoho Wang, Lin Feng could feel the pressure unless Luoho Wang purposely withdrew his soul energy. However, doing so was very tiring. It was like pretending to be thin despite being a fatso. Reaching 3-vein sovereign emperor's soul energy was still somewhat exaggerated. Xiao Chun did not intend to tell Lin Feng. He nodded and said, "Yes, the divine nature flame is even more extraordinary than I imagined." Lin Feng understood. So, that was the case. Then, he said, "That is natural. After all, you are an ancient demonic sovereign, a bona fide true god. Congratulations." Xiao Qin nodded slightly, and confidence appeared in his eyes. "It looks like we guessed right. The underworld god guards do indeed have a new target and have no time to care about us. However, with our current strength, even if we walk out openly, we do not have to worry about them surrounding us." Whoosh! With their strength improving, the two felt very confident of charging out of the final blood battlefield. Just at this moment, a flash of scarlet flame entered the two's vision. The demon blood vulture had returned. Xiao Chan frowned slightly. Then he looked at Lin Feng and said, "The demon blood vulture said that it sensed from afar that the underworld god guards are fighting with someone. It seems like the battle is very intense." Lin Feng immediately felt interested. He said coldly, "Let's go and take a look. The enemies of the underworld god guards are our friends." That's what I was thinking. In reality, the two wanted to teach the underworld god guards a lesson. Given Xiao Chun and Lin Feng's characters, they have been chased miserably for more than a month, stuck in the final blood battlefield, unable to leave. How could I let them off so easily? If there was an opportunity, they would definitely make a move to take revenge. Chapter 2203. Xiao Qin's soul energy reached the level of a three-vein sovereign emperor, and his divine energy successfully opened a divine vein. Now, Xiao Chan really wanted to see who was fighting the underworld god guards. Lin Feng, who was at the side, said sullenly, "The underworld god guards are the backbone of the underworld god hall. They are somewhat similar to the Heavenly Alliance's members. In order to become an underworld god guard, one needs to be a sovereign emperor. This kind of elite force usually won't interfere in secular matters. Most of them are here to deal with the righteous path's super forces." Xiao Qin was deep in thought. "Are you saying that they might be attacking the mystic light sect's saint?" Lin Feng nodded. "It's very likely. As for whether it's true or not, we'll know once we go over and take a look." The two gently pushed off the ground and landed on the demon blood vulture's back. Then, they quickly flew towards the place where the incident occurred. The demon blood vulture moved very fast in this final blood battlefield. Furthermore, it was a demonic beast. In this battlefield, Xiao Chun and Lin Feng were on its back, which could achieve the effect of deceiving others. Outsiders only knew that it was a demonic creature flying over, but they didn't know that Xiao Chun and his companion were also on it. Boom! Suddenly, a dazzling white ray of sword light erupted 500,000 kilometers ahead, and it illuminated the heavens and the earth as if it was daytime. Lin Feng was slightly startled. It looks like there's an 80 to 90% chance that it is that group from the profound light holy land. This was clearly the light Dao domain. Previously, when Wenren Yu attacked Luo Ho Wang, the mysterious phenomenon was similar to this. Let's go take a look. The demon blood vulture accelerated, continuously flying closer. Sword hums sounded like flute music in the surroundings. The piercingly cold sword wind blew over from afar, causing people to feel a slight chill on their bodies. What a strong sword intent! Before we even get close to his Dao domain, the sword light he emits already makes it hard to approach. Lin Feng frowned slightly. With a thought, traces of black death qi emanated from his body. However, when the formless sword intent intertwined with the aura of death on his body, it was as if the sword intent was invisible. There was a hissing sound as the sword intent wrapped around Lin Feng's death qi, corroding his death qi. Lin Feng was greatly startled. His death Dao domain was very strong, aside from the life Dao domain. He had never suffered such a loss. His death qi was actually being corroded by someone else. Even when Xiao Chan layered his 3 Dao domains, he could barely block the death Dao's Dao might. Xiao Chen's eyes lit up as he glanced over. What a familiar sword light. Don't care about the demon blood vulture. The two of us will go over first. A trace of anticipation appeared in Xiao Chen's heart. He gently leaped up and unexpectedly flew over alone against the sword wind. Whoosh! A figure followed closely behind. It was Lin Feng. He was very curious about when such an expert had appeared in the profound light holy land, so he quickly followed. After a short while, the two of them landed on a mountain peak and stopped. If one went any further, it would be the Dao domain of that group of underworld god guards and the mysterious expert. Once one entered, one would definitely be dragged into a huge battle. Thousands of mysterious phenomena appeared in front of Xiao Chun, looking like demons dancing wildly. Xiao Chun could see close to 20 underworld god guards. He dashed about in all directions, executing all sorts of killing moves. Demonic chi surged like a boundless ocean. The person in the middle held a sword, not flustered at all. His body gave off a slightly chaotic light, dodging the killing moves. However, when he attacked, a 30-kilometer-long sword light tore through the sky, howling in all directions and illuminating the world. One sword light illuminated the 9 provinces. This person showed a smile on his face. Despite being surrounded by close to 20 underworld god guards, he still remained calm. With a sword in hand, he used the least amount of energy to defend himself, making it an impenetrable defense. What exquisite sword techniques! Who is this person? He does not look like someone from the profound light Holy Land. Lin Feng felt somewhat surprised. This person's light Dao domain was terrifyingly strong. He managed to suppress all these underworld god guards who cultivated demonic Dao techniques all by himself. Unexpectedly, this person was not from the profound light Holy Land. He looked very unfamiliar. Chu Chaoyan. Indeed, it is him, Xiao Qin muttered to himself. When he saw that sword light earlier, he found it somewhat familiar. Now that he saw this person's face clearly, if it was not Chu Chaoyan, who else could it be? Xiao Chun could not help revealing a smile. He sighed ruefully in his heart. After parting in the Kunlun realm, if he counted the time in the faux god world, it had been more than 20 years since they last met. 20 years passed quickly. Chu Chaoyan still looked as elegant as before. You know him? Lin Feng looked at Xiao Chun, finding it strange. Xiao Chun sighed softly. It was not just knowing him. Xiao Qin's grudge with Chu Chaoyan had been entangled ever since he left Mo City. In the Sky Dome realm, in the Kunlun realm, the two were friends and enemies at the same time. Xiao Chun gave the other party the divine item that the Tianwu Emperor left behind and personally let the other party leave the abandoned land. The word acquaintance simply could not describe all the things that happened. Go and save him. It looks like these underworld god guards are just delaying, waiting for reinforcements. This is for you. With a glance, there were close to 20 underworld god guards. Even with Xiao Qin's current strength, he would not have any hope of victory against so many sovereign emperors. At best, he could leave calmly. While Chu Chaoyan did not seem to be at a disadvantage, in reality, he could not escape. The 20 underworld god guards formed a killing formation, avoiding the battle and surrounding Chu Chaoyan without attacking. Clearly, they wanted to exhaust Chu Chaoyan's divine energy and soul energy, waiting for stronger reinforcements to arrive. This is a medial-grade soul tool. Lin Feng casually received the secret treasure that Xiao Qin gave him. At first, he did not pay much attention to it. After checking it out, he exclaimed, "The Qiongqi Beast Ghost Pennant." This was one of the 3 medial-grade soul tools that the Scarlet Blood Pirate King left behind. Soul tools were also known as soul treasures. Only rank 6 sects could possess them. An inferior grade soul tool was sufficient to form the foundation of a rank 6 sect. Medial grade soul tools were something only rank 7 sects could possess. Even the sovereign emperors of super factions rarely had inferior grade soul tools. Medial grade soul tools were even rarer. That was not all. When Xiao Chun took out the God Shadow Bow, Lin Feng felt somewhat stupefied. Another medial grade soul tool. Xiao Chun, you really hit it deeply. Lin Feng sighed deeply. Then, he said somewhat helplessly, if you had taken out such a trump card earlier, we would not have ended up in such a sorry state. As Xiao Chun fiddled with the God Shadow Bow, he said indifferently, one should not flaunt one's wealth. If I had taken out this soul tool earlier, I might have attracted some trouble. Furthermore, when I first advanced to Sovereign Emperor, I could bring out only 40% of this medial grade soul tool's might. What about now? Xiao Chun replied softly, saving him comes first. As Xiao Chun spoke, he drew the bowstring. In the past, he could only draw it slightly. At this moment, the bowstring was easily drawn into the shape of a full moon. The soul energy in the divine seal drained like a flood. However, Xiao Chun did not find this unbearable. When the conditions were right, success would follow. When the bow was drawn into the shape of a full moon, the entire bow shone with a hazy red light, looking like blood about to drip out. A baleful aura spread out from the bow, making the entire sky tremble. This slender bowstring stirred the winds and clouds. When the heart flames spread out on the arrow, a baleful aura spread out. Behind Xiao Chun, the boundless momentum, the mountains, rivers, grass, trees, and demonic qi for 5,000 kilometers around seemed to stir. The underworld god guard surrounding Chu Chaoyan all felt their hearts skip a beat, a strange horror spreading in their hearts. For some reason, they felt like the Grim Reaper was approaching, 1 foot in the gates of hell. Danger! Quickly scatter! Someone shouted, and the 20-odd underworld god guards gave up on Chu Chaoyun at the same time, scattering. Whoosh! However, it was too late. The instant Xiao Chun released his hand, he could not see the arrow's trajectory at all. Nearly the instant Xiao Chun released his hand, an underworld god guard got struck. His physical body exploded on the spot, and his soul perished. His boundless life force vanished in 1 second. Immemorial Qiongqi Beast, Great Desolate Aeon's Rage. On the other side, Lin Feng used his Death Great Dao to activate the Qiongqi Beast Ghost Pennant. It produced an unimaginably horrifying might. A gigantic Qiongqi Beast image charged out of the pennant, carrying the rage of the Great Desolate Aeon that could destroy the world. It instantly knocked back a group of underworld god guards and made them vomit blood. The underworld god guards' souls trembled, and their physical bodies nearly turned into meat paste. Their hovering bodies wobbled, unable to stand stably. Whoosh! 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 Xiao Chan followed up with more force, firing 3 arrows in a row, killing a martial emperor with each arrow. Whoosh! After continuously drawing the god shadow bow to a full moon and shooting 4 arrows in one breath, Xiao Chun found this somewhat taxing, so he let out a long breath. However, Xiao Chun revealed a smile on his face, not showing any fatigue at all. Clearly, Xiao Chun did this with ease, not injuring himself at all. In the past, when he used the god shadow bow, he would only injure the enemy 1,000 times, but himself 800 times. Soul energy. This was the strength of a 3-vein sovereign emperor's soul energy. On the other side, Lin Feng was laughing maniacally as he held the Qiongqi Ghost Streamer. As he wielded the Qiongqi Beast Ghost Pennant, he was pleasantly surprised to discover that his Death Dao domain was unexpectedly easy to wield with this medial-grade soul tool. He even managed to activate the Great Desolate Aeon's Rage hidden in the Qiongqi Beast Ghost Pennant, controlling the ferocious beast image to charge around, flustering the remaining underworld god guards. Although it was not as shocking as the god shadow bow's 1-arrow kill, its might was even greater when it continued to attack. None of the remaining 10-odd sovereign emperors managed to escape. At the foot of the mountain, Chu Chaoyun felt suspicious. When he looked up, he happened to meet Xiao Chen's gaze. In an instant, the gazes of the two of them met, even though they were separated by 10,000 li. After a while, the two smiled at each other. Many emotions and all sorts of emotions were unspoken.